Chapter 26-23. The Seven Devils of Freedom, the nemesis of Fusang City, 2, the mighty army of female cultivators has finally arrived. Hearing the words of these men of Fusang City, they hate so much that their eyes are about to split, and they are even more disgusted to the point of vomiting. Yes, in Fusang City, there were some men who were so heartless and self-righteous. They feel from the bottom of their hearts that women are trampled by men like goods at will, which is a matter of course. Although Guaiyun has never stayed in Fusang City, hearing these words also makes her stomach roll with disgust. How could a girl like her, who grew up under the pampering of her elders, think that there would be such a dirty and dark place in the world? But although her heart is burning with anger, she still remembers Mu Yan's instructions. She turns to look at the tall female cultivator on the side. Sister Zhu Wan, what should we do? Should we kill these bastards now? Zhu Wan is 079 of the 100 Flowers Kill, and the only leaving body stage expert. At this time, her cold eyes are falling on Dongye Yamada, and the bottom of her eyes bursts with cold killing intent. At this time, Dongye Yamada has no noble arrogance of the heir of a rich family. He is surrounded by guards, sweating profusely and looking panicked. When he meets Zhu Wan's eyes, he is so scared that he trembles all over. Zhu Wan, don't mess around, have you forgotten the scene of being tormented by the Myriad Caves 10 Ultimate Formation? I tell you, I am now the heir of the Dongye family, the largest family in Fusang City. You dare to hurt me, the governor will never let you go. As he roars, Dongye Yamada keeps crushing the talisman in his hand. That is a communication talisman. As long as you are in Fusang City, you only need to crush it, and you can use your divine sense to construct any message and send it instantly. However, at this moment, he has crushed dozens of communication talismans, but the governor's mansion is still quiet, not even a sound. How can this be? Where is the governor? Is he not coming to protect us, the citizens? Zhu Wan looks at his cowardly appearance, frightened like a stray dog, and the corners of her mouth curve coldly. Do you think that your governor can still come out alive to save you? Higashino Yamada was shocked. What do you mean? Guaiyun sneered and said, that Willow Valley City's old bastard took Jun Emosia away. Do you think that he could have survived Jun Emosia's attack? Higashino Yamada quickly recalled the inhumanly beautiful 099 that was taken away by Yanagi Castle. He sneered, what god Jun? Wasn't it just a woman? If she is willing to be with me, I am willing to admit that she is a stunner. Guaiyun is so angry that her whole face turns red. She spits angrily and says, you haven't even heard of the devastatingly beautiful killing god Mu Yan. How ignorant and ill-informed are you, Fusang City's beasts. Another little girl on the side also sneered and said, if I remember correctly, the team sent by Fusang City to participate in the Deer Cry banquet also spoke rudely to women on the field. In the end, they were taught a lesson by the gods of the Carefree team. I wonder if he managed to crawl back to Fusang City alive. Only then did Higashino Yamada reveal a look of horror. Carefree team, that woman is a member of the Carefree team. Not to mention Higashino Yamada, several men from the aristocratic families on the side also widened their eyes in shock and anger. Fusang City is an extremely isolated place. Chapter 26-24. The Unfettered Seven Devils, the Bane of Fusang City, 3. The men in the city hid in a gold-squandering cave constructed by the 10,000 Caves Formation, living their lives of luxury. They had no idea what a true cultivator and power was. However, there was at least one name that they had more or less heard of. That was the Unfettered team. This year, the Dragon Soaring Academy held the Deer Cry banquet, and all the most talented young people in Fusang City were sent out. These young generation were nurtured by the most talented female cultivators. They used all kinds of elixirs and medicines, and let them wear the strongest magic treasures. Originally, they hoped to raise the prestige of Fusang, so that others would not dare to covet and explore Fusang City. They also wanted to abduct a few more beautiful female cultivators back for Fusang City. However, the result was that the dozen or so geniuses were completely annihilated. None of them returned to Fusang City alive. The only one who escaped back to deliver the news was a servant in the Fusang team. The servant didn't know anything. He only knew that the young masters he served were completely defeated at the Dreamy banquet and lost all their face. They were even painted with those shameful pictures and became the laughingstock of the entire Divine Elephant City. Perhaps they had received too much stimulation. The people of the Fusang team became crazy. They even committed suicide one after another. In the end, only the servant was left in the entire Fusang team. The servant was scared out of his wits and fled back to Fusang City that night. When Willow Guqing and the heads of the major families heard the news, they were naturally furious. Among them, Willow Gai was Willow Guqing's only son. But even if they were furious to the extreme, these cowards of Fusang City did not dare to leave Fusang City to take revenge. A middle-aged man next to Dongye Yamada flew into a rage. So it was that bitch who killed my son, Yuan Dajuan. Bastard, bastard. I will make that group of bitches pay for my son's life. Dongye Yamada was not angry. Instead, he smiled faintly. Master Yuan, don't be impatient. Don't forget that the only son of the city lord, Willow Gai, died in the hands of the unfettered team. Do you think that with the city lord's methods, he will let that slut off? That group of bitches who overestimate their own capabilities actually want to lay a hand on the city lord. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Hearing this, the middle-aged man restrained his anger and revealed a carefree expression. Guaiyun spat and made a face at him. Since the city lord is omnipotent, how did we escape from the 100-blossom kill? Higashino Yamada's face stiffened. Guaiyun continued, your bullshit lord's great array was broken by Jun Imo Xia a long time ago. Jun Imo Xia had long since turned that heartlock into scrap iron. Now it's your bastard city lord's turn. Fear was evident in Higashino Yamada's eyes, but he quickly burst into laughter. What do you fools know? The entire Fusang City was covered by the myriad deep cave formation. As long as one was in the city lord was the only god. Anyone who wants to resist is no different from striking a rock with an egg. It's not that no one was lucky enough to break the lock in the past, but as long as the city lord activated the myriad deep cave formation, not a single bitch could escape. Not to mention, the city lord's mansion is the heart of the formation. It's connected to the city lord's soul. Even if a tribulation stage cultivator enters, he will become the city lord's puppet, and he will do whatever he wants. Chapter 26-25. The Seven Unfettered Devils, the Nemesis of Fusang City. 4. The more Dongye Yamada spoke, the more agitated he became, the more certain he became, and a vicious smile appeared on his face. Are you sure that 099 entered the city lord's mansion to kill city lord Liu, and not to throw herself into his arms? The other male cultivators, who were still panicking, could not help but laugh wretchedly. Ha ha ha, there's been no movement for so long, maybe the two women are already lying in the city lord's bed. Humph, you stinking bitches, if you know your place, you'd better kneel down and beg for mercy. When the city lord comes out, we'll spare your lives. Dongye Yamada looked up at Zhu Wan, who was suspended in the air, and grinned. Zhu Wan, I'll give you one last chance. If you voluntarily put on the heart-locking buckle, kneel down and beg me to let you go, then I'll give you one last chance. After all, slaves in the out-of-body stage are hard to come by. Even if you're tired of the taste, I still want to take you out to show off. Ha ha ha. Young Master Dongye, this bitch is too fierce. Even if you really want to spare her, you can't let her go so easily. Since you're tired of playing, why don't you rent us for 2 days and let us have a taste of the out-of-body stage?" The men below burst into laughter. Zhu Wan, who was above, and the women who had been casually traded, all had bloodshot eyes. Guo Yun was also trembling with anger. At the same time, she felt that these men in Fusang City were even more stupid than pigs. Could they not see how much hatred Sister Zhu Wan and the others had in their hearts? Even if they were killed in the end, they did not care at all. Even if they had to sacrifice their lives, they just wanted to tear these beasts into pieces. However, these men were completely unaware of the situation they were in. They were still delightedly provoking Sister Zhu Wan. "Ha, don't worry, young Master Dongye has already lent this woman out several times. As long as we have a little patience, it will be our turn." Ha 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 ha, boom. Suddenly, a deafening sound exploded in everyone's ears. The ground of the entire Fusang city shook violently. The laughter of Higashino Yamada and the men stopped abruptly. They slowly turned around in disbelief and saw a raging fire burning in the center of the city lord's mansion. Higashino Yamada's pupils constricted violently, his mouth trembling as he murmured, "No, no, how could this be?" The city lord's manor was the heart of the array, the most impregnable place in Fusang City. How could it be on fire? However, this was only the beginning. As the raging fire burned in the city lord's manor, dense runes began to appear in the sky above Fusang City. The women wearing the locks suddenly let out a cry of surprise. I can use spiritual power now. Me too." She crushed the bracelet in her hand as tears gushed out of her eyes. "I've finally gotten rid of this thing's control." The women were crying and laughing at the same time. They were wild with joy, but also in pain. On the other hand, Higashino Yamada and the others were completely dumbfounded. As the city lord's mansion was reduced to ruins, the indestructible faith in their hearts also slowly collapsed and was destroyed. What followed was real fear, panic, and despair that they had never felt before. Higashino Yamada turned his head and shouted, quickly protect me and escape." Before he could finish his words, Zhu Wan's sneering face was already in front of him. Vomiting and having diarrhea, even a grain of rice a day was vomiting out, this was the rhythm of going crazy. Chapter 26-26. Dongye Yamada's eyes widened in horror. He opened his mouth, but he suddenly felt a pain in his tongue. His mouth was full of blood, and he couldn't say a word. Zhu Wan's voice rang in his ears, soft and gentle. "You want to run?" Dongye Yamada's body trembled, and his voice was muffled. His tongue hurt even more, but he didn't dare to not speak, and he didn't dare to not beg for mercy. Zhu Wan, I'm willing to give you all the treasures of the Dongye family. I just ask you to let me live, treasures. Ha 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 ha. Zhu Wan looked up to the sky and laughed sarcastically. "You bastards, after doing all those heartless things to me, you still want to use treasures to exchange for your dog's life. Ask God, will he agree or not?" Dongye Yamada was so frightened by Zhu Wan's eerie and crazy laughter that he took a few steps back. He sat down on the city wall and felt the urge to pee. There was only one word left in his mind. "It's over." Yun Ruhan pressed his head and frowned. He pushed away the slate on his body and stood up. His head was dizzy, and he couldn't even focus his eyes. What the hell happened just now? As soon as this thought flashed through his mind, he saw Luo Yu lying on the side. Little 7. Luo Yu opened his eyes in a daze. "Ouch, my head hurts, and it's all swollen." Willow Valley Ching, that old bastard, actually self-destructed. "Eldest senior brother, are you okay?" Where are the others? Yun Ruhan was relieved to see that he still had the strength to scold Willow Valley Ching. The others also woke up one after another, and found that they were only affected by the aftermath of the explosion, and there was nothing serious. Even Leng Wolin, who was protected by Leng Yuma, was unscathed and still sleeping soundly. However, they soon realized that something was wrong. Where's little junior sister? I only remember that before I fainted, sixth senior sister threw something at us, and then I lost consciousness. It's an array disc. Leng Yuma said firmly. It wasn't easy for little junior sister to refine the array disc that concealed the Myriad Cave 10 Ultimate Formation. When Willow Valley City blew itself up, she threw the array disc towards us. Chu Moli picked up the formation plate that had long since broken into several pieces, his pupils slightly contracting. A simplified version of the Great Heavenly Cycled Star Formation, no wonder it has such terrifying power. Yun Ruhan and the others stared fixedly at Chu Moli, hope flickering in their eyes. Third brother, little junior sister will be fine, right? Chu Moli closed his eyes and said slowly, it's the Myriad Deep Caves Formation that devoured her. Or rather, the Myriad Deep Cave Formation wanted to devour all of them. Chu Moli's fingertips lightly stroked the formation plate. His voice was somewhat hoarse and filled with unwillingness. If she had this formation plate of the Great Heavenly Cycled Star Formation, she would naturally be fine. However, little junior sister used this array disc to protect them. In the end, it was because they were too weak. Crack, the formation plate in Chu Moli's hand was directly crushed into pieces by him. Luo Yute said anxiously, third senior brother, what do you mean by this? Are you saying sixth senior sister is in danger? Isn't the core of the Myriad Cave 10 Ultimate Formation here? Let's charge over and destroy this stupid formation together. I don't believe that we can't save little junior sister. Chu Moli shook his head. The core of the formation had already moved when Willow Valley City blew itself up. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 26-27. Then we'll turn Fusang City upside down. Yun Ruhan said resolutely. The Myriad Cave Formation is the entire Fusang City. I don't believe it can escape to the ends of the earth. Even if it escapes to the ends of the earth, we'll return our little junior sister. Gee. Guji. Mom, wake up. Mu Yan opened her eyes in a trance. Her head was throbbing with pain, as if there were needles roasting over a fire, stabbing her nerves. However, her body felt as if it had been poured with ice water, heavy and cold. Her mind was empty, as if it had been emptied. Mu Yan thought for a long time, but she couldn't remember who she was or why she was here. But at the same time, her chest and her entire soul seemed to be filled with some dark energy, and she couldn't bear it. Her ears echoed with the woman's mournful cries, heart-wrenching screams, and the painful and desperate whimpers of death. That kind of pain and despair was too real, and she could feel it too. So much so that Mu Yan felt that even her soul was being pulled into the abyss little by little. Guji, poof, poof. Suddenly, a soft and furry ball directly hit her face. Gurgle gurgle, Mom woke up. Mom finally woke up. That's great, Huang Huang is so bored. Mom will play with Huang Huang. The ghostly cries and wolf howls that were originally ringing in her ears all disappeared because of this Pia. Her soul that had fallen into the abyss and was about to be devoured was suddenly pulled back. Mayan abruptly opens her misty eyes, her mind is clear and bright. In the distant void, there was an angry voice that sounded like a man and a woman. Impossible. How can it break free? Mu Yan reached out and pulled the little chick off her face. The little chick looked at the messy hair on her mother's head, and innocently tilted its head. It opened its mouth and spat out a string of bubbles. Gee Guji, Huang Huang loves Mom the most. Huang Huang didn't do anything to make Mom unhappy. Mu Yan looked at the cute little chick in front of her, speechless. Just now, Willow Valley City had self-destructed. He sacrificed himself to activate the Myriad Deep Cave Formation. Once the 10-terminal formation was activated, it would be a piece of cake to destroy the 7 gold core and nascent soul cultivators. Therefore, without hesitation, Mu Yan threw out a simplified version of the Heavenly Cycled Stars formation plate to protect her fellow apprentices. On the other hand, she was trapped in the heart of the Myriad Deep Cave Formation, unable to resist at all. The moment he entered the heart of the array, the baleful aura condensed from thousands of vengeful spirits assaulted him. Mu Yan's divine soul was almost directly crushed into pieces. Fortunately, she's the host of the Tian Mo Qin, and her divine soul is 1,000 times, 100 times stronger than an ordinary cultivator's, so she was able to withstand the attack. However, both his mind and soul were affected. Her emotions are gradually infected by those wronged spirits, and she forgets who she is, her purpose for coming here, and even forgets Di Mingju and Xiao Bao. All that was left was endless hatred and a painful struggle. The 1,000 Deep Caves formation devoured all of these negative emotions as nourishment. If this situation continues for a while longer, Mu Yan will definitely become a part of the millions of wronged souls, losing herself and sinking into oblivion for all eternity. If it weren't for the little chick, Mu Yan held the little chick by its neck and placed it in her palm. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 26-28. Did Huang Huang save me? 3. Mayan holds the little chick by its neck and puts it in her palm. Looking at its big round eyes, its 2 little claws pointing at each other, it has a guilty look on its face. It's a bit hard to explain in a few words. Huang Huang, did you save me? The little chick tilts its head and blinks, looking confused. Guji. If it's just a coincidence, it's too much of a coincidence. Gurgle, the little chick rubs against her palm in a flattering manner. Guji, Mom, don't be angry. Huang Huang won't dare to pull your hair anymore. Mayan smiles and reaches out to rub its head. No matter what, thank you for coming to my side, Huang Huang. Got praised by Mom. Got needed by Mom. Aw. Huang Huang is so happy that he's about to faint. Looking at the little chick excitedly running around in her palm, Mayan can't help but laugh. She can't help but have some doubts about the little chick's origin. In the heart of the Myriad Cave Formation, she couldn't maintain her consciousness due to the attack of the vengeful spirits. Even the ancient artifact spirit Qi Huang has lost contact with her, and the phoenix Chicho has already fallen asleep. Only the little chick can come out of the space. It's also alive and kicking, completely unaffected by the formation and the vengeful spirits. But this guy doesn't even have the slightest bit of spiritual power. His courage was boundlessly small. Whenever he encountered danger, he would scream and hide behind other people's backs. Even if it reads ancient books, it's never heard of this kind of spirit beast in the world. Boom! Suddenly, a gust of wind rolls up a bone-chilling evil chi. Ow, chick. Mom, save me. The little chick cries and burrows into Mayan's sleeve, not daring to come out again. It doesn't know how it got here, but it can't go back to the Tian Mo Qin space. Mayan raises her hand, and the 7 swords appear. They dance in front of her, blocking the storm of evil chi. However, the evil chi that was dispersed by her sword energy doesn't disappear. Instead, it gradually converges in the sky, condensing into a terrible face. Yes, it was an incomparably huge and terrifying face. Because this face was a combination of thousands of women's faces. Upon closer inspection, one could see countless eyes, countless noses, and countless mouths. It made one's hair stand on end. Every 3 years, Fusang City would hold 100 flowers kill. Those women who died in the 100 flower kill, they didn't die, they didn't escape. Instead, it was devoured by the 1,000 deep caves formation and became a part of the evil chi. It also provided the myriad deep cave formation with an endless supply of energy to repair itself. Swallow her. Devour her. The densely packed lips opened and closed, turning into a voice that made one's scalp tingle. If I swallow her, I can recover. I can advance. I want to return to the floating island, go back, go back. Mu Yan's expression was dignified. She loosened her hand and the 7 absolute swords flew up into the sky and turned into 7 swords. The Tian Mo Qin appears in her hands, and her 10 fingers are like dancing phantoms, quickly strumming the strings. Following the reverberation of the zither music, countless silver energy threads gushed out and shot in all directions. Gradually, they converged into complex runes in the sky. She wants to recreate the great heavenly cycled stars formation here, in the heart of the 1,000 deep caves formation. We can't let her set up the formation. Chapter 26-29. The fat rabbit's poop is a treasure. Asking for tickets, swallow her, order. Ghost face, swallow her. The androgynous voice rings out again, this time with a hint of panic. Driven by this voice, the huge ghost face lets out a terrible howl and suddenly rushes towards Mu Yan. Bang! The 7 absolute swords whiz forward, forming a sword array and blocking the first wave of ghost face's attack. However, Mu Yan, who is playing the zither, suddenly spits out a mouthful of blood, her face as pale as paper. The interweaving lines of runes in the void also tremble violently. Attack, attack, swallow her. The second wave of ghost face's attack is coming. The sharp sound waves are like invisible needles, directly piercing Mu Yan's eardrums. She spits out another mouthful of blood, unable to stand, and suddenly sits down on the ground. Both ears are bleeding, and there is a sharp pain in them, followed by a buzzing sound. The androgynous voice is very far away from her, almost inaudible. But Mu Yan doesn't stop her movements for a moment. Her fingers play the zither faster and faster. However, she had just comprehended the starry sky curtain. Moreover, she has overdrawn her divine power to master it in advance. With her current Shen musician level, she simply can't bring out the true power of the star curtain. Bean-sized beads of sweat drip from Mu Yan's forehead. A thin line of blood flows down from the corner of her mouth. Gee. Mom. What's wrong with you? The little chick in her sleeve finally can't hide anymore, and anxiously rushes out. Its little claws pull out a black round thing from nowhere, and it puts it on the Tian Mo Qin. It anxiously pushes Mu Yan, while continuously chirping. In a split second, the center of the myriad cave 10 extremes formation is filled with an indescribable stench. Even though Mu Yan is in imminent peril at this time, she can't help but look down. When she finds out what this black thing is, she almost rolls her eyes. The fat rabbit's poop. Why would the little chick give her the fat rabbit's poop at this time? However, the next moment, something happens that makes Mu Yan dumbfounded. The surface of the Tian Mo Qin unexpectedly ripples, as if the wudong tree has suddenly turned into a flowing lake and swamp. The black rabbit poop on Qin's body was gradually swallowed up. This scene was far too familiar to him. Mu Yan was so familiar with it that she was so stunned that she almost stopped playing the guqin. No attribute substance. The fat rabbit's poop was actually a non-attribute substance. A light flashed in his mind, and a line of words appeared. Tian Mo Qin's 1,000 rounds of divine power have been filled to the brim, please choose to upgrade Shin musician skills. 1,000 wheels of divine power. It was filled to the brim. The fat rabbit's poop actually represented 1,000 wheels of godly power. Damn, she's rich. Then in the future when her Shin musician skills upgrade, wouldn't she just need to ask Xiaobao's pet for rabbit poop? But at this time, Mu Yan had no time to be shocked. She unhesitatingly chose to use these 1,000 wheels of god power to level up Dried Star's curtain. The 2 stars behind the star curtain skill were instantly lit up. The next moment, Mu Yan feels a strange energy pouring into her body. It's like fireworks exploding in her mind. Gorgeous and colorful, every inch of it tells her what it means to be an array refiner. What it means to truly enter the array with the zither. Almost at the same time, Ghostface's 4th wave of attack arrives. The 7 absolute sword can no longer support itself, making a trembling buzzing sound. Little chick and little rabbit, their power is boundless, so remember to treat the little animals around you well, maybe they're also treasures. Chapter 26:30. Take you home. The androgynous voice has a hint of joy and excitement. Devour her. Quick. Quick. Mu Yan raises her eyes, raises her hand, and withdraws the 7 absolute swords. Without the 7 absolute swords obstruction, the ghostly face, wrapped in cold resentment, whizzes over. A bloody mouth slowly opens, wanting to swallow Mu Yan whole. Mu Yan sneers, and her 10 fingers suddenly pluck on the Tian Mo Chin. Swish! A dazzling light rushes up into the air. Countless rune lines converge from all directions, and finally converge into an invisible arrayed disc in the air. The stirring music is like a tsunami, and like 10,000 horses galloping, swallowing the mountains and rivers. The primordial world gives birth to all things, and the sky is filled with stars. The great heavenly star formation is complete. The sky shakes, the earth shakes, and the mountains and rivers change color. The runes that make up the myriad cave formation collapse inch by inch. Ghostly face, kill her. Self-detonation, primordial spirit self-detonation, kill her for me, kill. Kill. The androgynous voice finally panics, roaring incessantly, telling the ghostly face to rush over and kill Mu Yan at all costs. The runes binding the ghostly face decrease, and the ghostly face's movements become sluggish. The faces of the thousands of women show a painful struggle. Mu Yan throws out the arrayed disc in her hand, and the 7 absolute swords draw an arc in the air. She says in a clear voice, "Thousands of wronged souls, listen to me. The myriad cave formation that traps you is about to break. If you still want freedom, want to be free, want the chance to reincarnate, then break free from its shackles. I'll take you home. Take you home. Go home. Go home. Go home." The girl's slightly hoarse voice resounds in the sky over and over again. It's like an oath, but also like a spell that is 1,000 years late, unlocking the cage that has shackled them for thousands of years. No. No, 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 no. The androgynous voice roars hoarsely. However, none of the wronged souls are willing to listen to his orders. Pairs of numb eyes focused on him one after another. One lost soul after another finds themselves. Under the light of the great all-side star formation, the condensed ghost face gradually collapsed and dissipated. This was Mu Yan's final blow to the myriad deep caves formation and Fusang City with these poor women. All the animals that are worse than pigs and dogs, go to hell. Go to hell. In the depths of Phoenix Heaven Mountain Range. Luo Yunxiao and Qi Wen, who were searching for something in an ancient ruin, stopped at the same time and raised their heads to look at the sky. "Master, I think I can sense the aura of the 1,000 deep cave formation." I'm not dreaming, right? Shouldn't the myriad deep cave formation be on the floating island? Although it and its master had searched the floating island for a long time, they couldn't find any information about the myriad deep cave formation. But it shouldn't be in the cultivation continent. Could it be that it was too eager to help its master find those things and find a chance of survival? To the extent that he was hallucinating? But soon, Luo Yinxiao's slightly hoarse voice rang in its ears. It is indeed the myriad deep cave formation. No, it's not just the myriad deep cave formation. There seems to be the aura of the great all-side star formation as well, but it was too weak. It disappeared in a flash and couldn't be captured. Chiwen was stunned at first, but then she was overjoyed. Master, this is great, this is great. Yin and Yang dual heart, 12 evils, 36 stars. Chapter 26-31. The Emperor wants to be the mistress. 1. Master, that's great, that's great. Yin and Yang dual heart, 12 evils, 36 stars. Now that we have the myriad cave formation, we've gathered 1/3 of the 12 evils. Master, you're one step closer to your goal. Chiwen said excitedly as she suddenly enlarged her body and soared into the sky. Master, hurry. That's the myriad cave formation. If it's discovered, someone will definitely try to snatch it. We have to make the first move. Luo Yunxiao was startled. She stepped onto the flying sword under Qi Wen's urging and flew towards the direction of the myriad cave formation. Was it an illusion? That seemed to be the direction of Mu Yan's aura. Xiuxian continent, polar domain. Little master, please have a meal. Xiao Bao opened his eyes and came out of his meditation. Defeating Armies was holding a sumptuous meal in his hands and respectfully brought it to him. These dishes contained abundant immortal energy and almost no impurities, yet they were extremely delicious. In order to let Xiao Bao cultivate better, Di Mingju even asked Elder Chang to personally ask the King of Medicine to add immortal medicine that was beneficial to the cultivation of the immortal body. It could be said that these dishes could be sold at a sky-high price even in the Xiuxian continent. However, after Xiao Bao took the dishes, he didn't even take a bite. A fluffy snow-white rabbit and a long sword flew over and couldn't wait to pounce on the dishes. A whoop, buzz buzz buzz. In a split second, as if a typhoon had passed through, the sumptuous and delicious dishes disappeared without a trace. The fat rabbit held its round belly with its short legs and burped. It snuggled next to Xiao Bao and snored away. The evil warding sword buzzed and trembled, and a stomping sound came into Xiao Bao's ears. Damn it, fortunately I got it fast this time. Otherwise, the damn rabbit would have taken it all. What a delicacy! Xiao Bao gently squeezed the hilt of the evil warding sword and stroked the fat rabbit's smooth fur. Then he handed the empty plate back to Defeating Armies, Uncle Defeating Armies. This was the first time Defeating Armies saw these two ferocious fellows. He was shocked when they snatched the little master's food. However, he was already used to it. Little Master was indeed Little Master. Even his spiritual pet and sword were so different. Defeating Armies took out a few more dishes from his space ring and brought them to Xiao Bao. Little Master, please enjoy. Xiao Bao blinked his big blue eyes and sniffed lightly with his little nose. His stomach growled. He lowered his eyes in embarrassment. Although his little face was still tense, his ears had quietly turned red. He took the tray and said softly, "Thank you, Uncle Pajuan." Even Defeating Armies, who had a heart of stone and no love, looked at this delicate and obedient little doll. Looking at those eyes that are similar to Di Mingju's, he can't help but feel ripples in his heart. He really wished that he could give the best of everything in the world to his little master. When Xiao Bao ate, he ate very quickly, but his manners were excellent. His back was straight and he didn't make a single sound. That appearance caused Defying Armies to be in a daze. It was as if he had seen the child from many, many years ago, who was only in his twilight years, but could no longer conceal his beauty. Finally, Defying Armies couldn't help but open his mouth. "Little master, how much do you know about your biological father?" Xiao Bao put down his bowl and chopsticks. He raised his head to look at Defying Armies, a trace of bewilderment in his eyes. After a long while, he gently shook his head. Xiao Bao had never seen him. Chapter 2632. Di Jun wants to forcefully seize and become a third party. 2. What about Miss June? Didn't she mention it to you? Xiao Bao slightly tilts his head. Nyangqin doesn't mention it. Nyangqin doesn't like that person. He looks straight into Defying Armies' eyes, and says in a methodical manner, "Nyangqin only likes daddy, and Xiao Bao also only likes daddy, not biological father." Defying Armies is about to be warmed by his chilly, and adorable voice. In his heart, he only feels that Jun Shang is so lucky to be able to meet the destined one. But there are still some things in Defying Armies' heart. Some things that only he knows in this world. Jun Shang also likes the little master and Miss June the most. "Little master, have you ever thought if your biological father is?" Defying Armies hasn't finished his words. Han Ye's noisy voice comes from behind. "Defying Armies, are you courting death?" Mentioning Xiao Bao's biological father again. "If Jun Shang hears this, he'll punish you to go to purgatory for a month. At that time, you'll be my companion." Defying Armies expressionlessly looks at Han Ye. Han Ye goes in front of the two, and kneels down on one knee towards Xiao Bao. "Greetings, little master." After paying his respects, he pulls Defying Armies, lowering his voice. "Defying Armies, I know what you're worried about. But you can rest assured, I've already inquired about it when we were in the Yanwu continent. The little master's biological father had already passed away when he was just born. Defying Armies, even if Miss June loved that short-lived ghost before, things have changed with the passage of time. More than 10 years have passed, and Miss June no longer has that short-lived ghost in her heart. What's more, with our Jun Shang's character, how could that short-lived ghost be mentioned in the same breath?" Defying Armies, Han Yi sees that Defying Armies isn't speaking, smacking his lips and sighing. Fortunately, the little master's biological father died early. Otherwise, if our Jun Shang had taken a fancy to Miss June, wouldn't there be only two paths for him to take? Either forcefully snatch and become a third party, or be overwhelmed with sorrow and grow old alone. Think about it, it's miserable, too miserable. Han Ye's voice abruptly stops. That's because he finds that Defying Armies' expression has changed, his line of sight also burning anxiously and not far ahead. A bad premonition suddenly surged in his heart. Shakily turning his head, he saw a handsome and peerless man standing quietly in front of the teleportation formation, looking at him coldly. Han Yi shudders from head to toe, and with a thud, he kneels to the ground. "Sin," greets Jun Shang. Did Jun Shang hear what he just said? Didn't you hear me? He definitely didn't hear it. Ben Jun wants to forcefully seize and become a third party. The man's voice was deep and magnetic. It was so pleasant that it could intoxicate people. But in Han Ye's ears, it's like a bolt from the blue, almost striking him silly. This monarch is going to be overwhelmed with sorrow and die alone. With a sullen face, Han Yi lifts his head, then his whole body suddenly prostrates on the ground, prostrating himself on all fours. "Jun Shang, this lowly one knows his mistake. Jun Shang, spare my life. This is all Pejun's fault. He mentioned Xiaobao's biological father out of nowhere." Di Mingju turns his gaze towards Defying Armies. Defying Armies felt his scalp go numb and a chill run down his spine. Bending one knee, he knelt on the ground. This subordinate has spoken too much. Lord, please punish me. Ming-ju knits his brows, just as he's about to speak. Xiao Bao has already run in front of him, stretching out his small hands to hug his thighs. He lifts his head up. Daddy, hug. This little person is usually like a little adult, serious in speech and manner, with a straight face, never acting like a spoiled child. But only when he's facing Mayan, the person he's closest to, would he reveal the appearance of a child. And now, he's added to the mix. Chapter 26-33. Jun wants to be a mistress by force. 3. Asking for votes, the little jealousy and anger in Ming-ju's heart also dissipates under the flickering eyelashes and sparkling blue eyes of the little baby. He bends down to pick him up. Xiao Bao immediately hugs his neck. Before Ming-ju can speak, the little boy sticks to his ear and whispers, in Xiao Bao's heart, Daddy is Xiao Bao's biological father. Xiao Bao doesn't like other people and doesn't want them to be daddy. If Xiao Bao doesn't like it, Nyangqin won't like it either. As he speaks, his little hands hug Ming-ju tightly. That soft and tender voice seems to be making an oath and comforting at the same time. Ming-ju only feels that his heart has been hit by something, and all his feelings flow out in 1,000 miles. He wants to say, Daddy also loves Xiao Bao the most. Whether he and Mu Yan will have other children in the future, even if Xiao Bao is not his own flesh and blood. This child will also be his and Mu Yan's most precious treasure in this life, and no one can replace it. However, Ming-ju is used to holding his words in his heart, and doesn't know how to say it for a while. Xiao Bao says again, Daddy, Xiao Bao has passed the 5th round of assessment. Ming-ju slowly takes a breath, his voice is soft, Xiao Bao did a good job. The little boy's delicate little face shows a shy smile. Then he blinks, Xiao Bao and Nyangqin love Daddy very much, and Xiao Bao also works hard to become stronger, but, he paused for a moment, his eyes slightly red, and crystal clear tears rolled down his cheeks. But Xiao Bao hasn't seen Nyangqin for a long time. Xiao Bao misses Nyangqin, I really want to see Nyangqin. Daddy, can you take Xiao Bao to see Nyangqin? Boom! The whole Fusang city shakes, and rich spiritual energy surges out from the ground. It's like someone has thrown a thunderbolt into the city, rolling up a whirlpool and surging violently. Along with the spiritual energy, there is also a trace of bone-chilling cold. It's the souls buried underground, shackled in the myriad caves formation for 10, 100, 1,000 years. The air is filled with creepy ghostly wails and wolf howls. For a moment, the entire Fusang city fell silent. Even the women who were immersed in their desire for revenge revealed a trace of fear. The temperature in the air suddenly dropped to freezing point. Even though the sun was high in the sky and the heat was scorching, everyone in Fusang City could only feel the bone-chilling cold. With great difficulty, the female cultivators who managed to escape from the Ascension realm held their magic tools and prepared for battle. They had been in despair, and they had wanted nothing more than to die. But now, he had finally found a chance to live. Only then did they realize that they still wanted to live, wanted to start a new life. However, just as they were panicking, he discovered that these vengeful spirits had all surged in all directions, burrowing into the bodies of the men in Fusang City who had yet to die. Ah! Shrill screams came from all directions. Don't kill me. I won't do it anymore, I won't dare to abuse women anymore, please let me live. I beg you. Oh. Aren't you dead? Why are you here? Monyang, I was wrong, a night of husband and wife, please spare me. Spare. Ah. Some of the screams came from the beasts who had been tortured to the point of death. But some of them came from the empty houses, the ground, and the ruins. It turned out that many men in Fusang City had already gone into hiding because they realized that the situation was not right. It seems that I haven't asked for votes for a long time. Monthly votes, it's almost the end of the month. Vote as you see fit. Mua. Chapter 2634. The nightmare was over, it was time to go home. There were not many women in Fusang City, except for those who escaped from the 100 Blossom Massacre. Many women did not even wait for others to save them before they were brutally killed by the group of men. In fact, in this riot in Fusang City, the number of women was less than half of the men. If not for the fact that the women who participated in the 100 Blossom Massacre were all high-level cultivators, if not for the fact that Zhu Wan, a leaving body stage cultivator, was holding the line. No matter how useless the men in Fusang City were, they might not be able to take the initiative. The disparity in numbers made it impossible for these women to dig out all the beasts in Fusang City in a short period of time. However, humans could not do it. But it did not mean that ghosts could not do it. Thus, Fusang City once again became a purgatory on Earth. It was just that in the past, it was those innocent women who fell into it. But now, with the cycle of cause and effect, this place had become the burial ground of those executioners. Blood gushed out from the cracks in all directions and dyed the ground red. In the air, there was turbulent spiritual energy and a thick smell of blood. Those female cultivators who were covered in wounds held knives and swords in their hands. They stared blankly at the bloody corpses in front of them. The faces that had once tortured them like demons were all twisted and deformed. Their protruding eyes were filled with fear and despair, as if they had experienced the most terrifying thing in the world before they died. From now on, they can no longer hurt you or imprison you. A faint voice lingered in their ears. It seemed like one person, but it also seemed like countless people were mixed together. You are so lucky, so lucky. If we can wait for redemption, if we can live to this day. But, that girl told us. It is not any of us who are wrong, but those beasts who dragged us into hell. You are us. Your release is our redemption. The female cultivators suddenly widened their eyes, and the hands that were holding their weapons trembled uncontrollably. They had already realized who was speaking. It was those vengeful spirits. They were the tens of thousands of vengeful spirits that had long been smashed into pieces and buried under the city of sin. We already have no future, but you still have. Therefore, we will be the ones to stain our hands with blood. The sins of this city shall be exterminated by us. Let us put an end to this everlasting hatred. As for you, all you need to do is carry our hope and future and continue forward, never looking back. The girls looked up at the sky in a daze. There was clearly nothing, but that voice rang clearly in their ears and in their hearts. Resonate with them. In the sky, a figure in snow-white clothes slowly floated down. It landed on the broken wall that was dyed red by blood and dust. Her gaze swept across all the women present, and her eyes seemed to be filled with gentleness, but also seemed to be sparkling. The nightmare is over. Her tone was gentle, but her voice was clear. Every word struck the souls of those girls. You can go home now. Clank. Someone couldn't hold the sword in his hand any longer and dropped it to the ground. He couldn't hold it in any longer and tears streamed down his face. There were also people who couldn't care less about the rivers of blood below. They crawled on the ground and wailed loudly. Her cries were heart-wrenching and heart-wrenching. It was as if she wanted to vent all the pain, suffering, and grievances she had suffered all these years. Chapter 2635. The nightmare is over. It's time to go home, too. Even Mu Yen, who is used to seeing wind and rain and considers herself to have a heart of stone, can't help but have her eyes redden. She closed her eyes and slowly sat cross-legged on the ruins. The Tian Mo Chin appears on her lap, her 10 fingers slowly strumming. Benevolent Saint, activated. But this time, it wasn't the chi of heaven and earth and his own chi of life that was about to die. Instead, it was given to the vengeful spirits that floated in the air. The sound of the zither was like a stream, cleansing the city that had been soaked in sin and blood. The sound of the zither was like a gentle breeze, gently brushing past the wounded bodies and souls of these women. The sound of the zither was like the sun, shining in every corner, dispelling the darkness and welcoming the light. The benevolence of a saint would benefit the world. I'll use my lifespan to exchange for your transcendence and reincarnation. I'm here to fulfill my promise and send you home. The lingering sound of the zither grew louder and more moving. Countless energies fly up from the Tian Mo Chin into the void, twining around something, washing away bit by bit, blending bit by bit. Suddenly, something fluttered down from the sky. The woman in Fusang City could not help but raise her head. Through her teary eyes, she looked over in a daze. At some point, snowflakes began to fall from the sky. No, it wasn't a snowflake. Pure white, sparkling and translucent, like dew and snow. When he stretched out his hand to catch it, it would scatter like mist. Those were vengeful souls that had been purified. Mayan's complexion is pale, sparkling and translucent beads of sweat wet the hair on her forehead. However, she did not care at all as she watched more and more flying snow falling from the sky. The corners of his mouth curled into a faint smile, and the music that flowed from his fingers became more and more gentle. Even if the spiritual power in his body was almost exhausted. Even if he had to use his lifespan to make up for it. She didn't care. Because she had promised these people that she would free them and send them home. Suddenly, Mu Yen feels someone lightly touch her cheek. Then, he heard a faint voice in his ear. It was soft and distant, as if it came from the horizon. Jun Mayan, thank you, the second time. Thank you, the third time. Thank you for freeing us, thank you for keeping your promise. Our nightmare is over. With each touch, it was like a kiss. Countless snowflakes began to change direction and float towards her. A strange energy is injected into Mu Yan's body. It replenished the lifespan that she had consumed, and also allowed her originally exhausted spiritual power to condense again. Until the last snowflake entered her body. Between heaven and earth, it was as if the words, thank you, and goodbye, were still echoing. Mu Yan slowly stops playing the zither and presses her palm against her chest. With a slight movement of her divine sense, a crystal-clear pearl that looked like a teardrop appeared in her palm. Mu Yan can feel that this bead contains a powerful energy. However, this energy was not spirit power, dark power, devil power, immortal power, or even divine power. What kind of energy was this? Mu Yan held the bead in her hand in confusion. Suddenly, she heard the joyful voices of the people of the Xiaoyao school. Sixth senior sister, are you alright? Junior sister, it's great that you're not injured. The 6 people of the Xiaoyao school landed in front of her and happily looked at her, who was unharmed. However, Luo Yu, Ling Yuxing, and Len Yuma's eyes were all red. It was obvious that they had been crying. Chapter 2636. A proper Messiah persona, 1, when they appeared, the teardrop disappeared automatically and merged with her sea of consciousness. Mu Yan wanted to move it, but she couldn't, so she could only give up. She smiled and showed the Xiaoyao sect that she was unscathed. Then, she threw a palm-sized disc to Chu Moli. Third senior brother, this is the core of the Myriad Cave Formation. Chu Moli raised his eyebrows. Do you know how precious the core of the Myriad Cave Formation is? Why did you throw it to me so casually? Was on the tip of his tongue. He swallowed it back. Chu Moli smiled and looked down to study the disc in his hand. The disc was the color of green jade. It was crystal clear and had a delicate luster. However, if one were to look closely at the center of the disc, they would be able to see countless densely packed red threads. It was as if blood had seeped into it, and it gave people a creepy feeling. Chu Moli rubbed the disc with his fingers and closed his eyes. He sent his divine sense into it, but suddenly opened his eyes. His face turned pale. Third senior brother, are you okay? Third brother, what's wrong? The 6 people gathered around him nervously. Mu Yan asked anxiously, is the myriad deep cave formation still up to no good? Chu Moli opened his eyes and saw the 6 people's worried eyes. A hint of warmth flashed in his eyes. He shook his head and handed the disc back to Mu Yan regretfully. I can't control this thing right now. I can only give it back to you, junior sister. Mu Yan hesitated. Chu Moli was quite regretful and pulled his hand back. Forget it. It's a little dangerous, but it's really interesting. It's worth studying. Mu Yan quickly grabbed the disc and put it in her space without thinking. Luo Yu and the others also said, 6th senior sister, you must keep the core well. Don't let 3rd senior brother get it. Yes, he doesn't know his own body at all. With this thing in his hands, he'll ruin his body sooner or later. Even Qin Zhou, who was usually quiet, couldn't help but say, 3rd brother, be good. Don't play with it. It's dangerous. Junior sister, keep it well. Chu Moli touched his nose helplessly, but a smile appeared in his eyes. Down below, the excited women gradually calmed down. They wiped away their tears and looked up at the 7 people on top of the ruins. In the end, everyone's eyes are focused on Mu Yan. Zhu Wan was the first to bend her knees and said in a hoarse voice, we will never forget the kindness of saving our lives. Miss June, please accept our respects. Then, 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, all the female cultivators knelt down. Their foreheads were pressed tightly against the ground as they shouted each word in their hoarse voice. Miss, I will never forget your kindness in saving my life. For a moment, the entire city was filled with the twisted corpses of men and the figures of women kneeling on the ground in gratitude. This scene was even more shocking than the ascension of an emperor or the ascension of an almighty being. Luo Yu could not help but click her tongue as she shook her head and said, 6th senior sister is 6th senior sister. Everywhere we go, if we don't make a big fuss, the sun will rise from the west. Ling Yuma glanced at her mother, who was still unconscious on her back. Her expression was gentle and grateful. If we weren't in a desperate situation, you wouldn't be able to imagine what kind of savior little junior sister is. Chapter 2637. Perfect Savior Persona 2. Asking for votes, Mu Yan looked at them and said in all seriousness, I can't be the savior of the world alone. Without 4th senior sister, I would have already been killed by Willow Valley Qing when I didn't have the strength to resist. If the senior brothers hadn't arrived in time, I would have been swallowed up by the ghost soldiers of the myriad cave formation. I don't care about being a messiah. But if... She smiled softly, if I'm really put in that position by accident, then it must be us, the carefree 7, who will advance and retreat together and share weal and woe together. Or could it be that senior brothers want to abandon me and live a carefree life? They were stunned at first, then couldn't help laughing. There was an indescribable sense of relief in their smiles, but there was a desire to become stronger in their eyes. They had to work harder and work harder to become stronger. Otherwise, it would not be them who left their junior sister behind, but they would be left far away by her. Although these women in Fusang City had taken revenge and freed themselves from the shackles of the heart-locking buckle. But they had been tortured day by day over the years, and their bodies had long been riddled with holes and weak. If they were to leave Fusang City just like that, they would probably die along the way. So Mu Yan ordered the healthy women who had just been caught in Fusang City. They cleaned up a few courtyards that could still be lived in and fixed them up. Mu Yan began to refine pills and heal their wounds. Many of the women were severely injured. Their dantian was destroyed, their cultivation had fallen by more than half, and their bodies were full of internal injuries caused by those beasts. They knew very well in their hearts that even a great doctor would be helpless in the face of their broken bodies. What's more, this Miss June was just a young girl in her early 20s. Her fighting strength was so strong, and her attainments in formations were so profound. Even the impregnable Fusang City formation could be broken. How could she have superb medical skills to treat them? These women had long been desperate, and there was only one thought in their minds. That was to go back to see their loved ones before going to the netherworld. However, the reality was completely beyond their expectations. Wang Miao looks down at the scar on her abdomen, feeling the spiritual power gushing out from her dantian. She looks at mine in shock, her words trembling, Miss June, my dantian has recovered, my cultivation has reached gold core stage. Mu Yan shook his head regretfully, your injuries are too severe, and you've been sick for so many years. It's almost impossible for you to recover to your peak. Sorry. Wang Miao's former cultivation level was at the 3rd stage of nascent soul. No. No. Miss June, how can you say sorry? Tears gushed out of Wang Miao's eyes. You don't know how grateful we are to you, and how lucky we are to have met you. Miss June, I have nowhere to go. Can I follow you in the future? In this life, I'm willing to serve you as my master. Whether I'm a slave or a maid, or a cow or a horse, I'm willing. Mu Yan stares blankly, why would I want you to be a slave or a maid, an ox or a horse? Wang Miao knelt down and was about to speak. Suddenly, the door was pushed open and Zhu Wan led the hundreds of women into the room. They knelt in front of her. Miss June, we've long been homeless, and we don't want to go back anywhere. The world is vast, but there's no place for us to go. In fact, after experiencing those inhuman tortures and mistreatment, they simply couldn't trust any human. Whether it's a man or a woman. Only this girl in front of them was their salvation, and also the only light in their lives. The fixed update time is after midnight. If there's time, it'll usually be after midnight. If there's no time, it'll be a bit later. Therefore, I sincerely hope that my dears, you can look at it the next day. No need to wait for updates, no need to stay up late, it's the best of both worlds. What do you think? Chapter 2638. Zhu Wan slowly raises her head, her slightly red eyes looking straight at Mu Yan, her voice hoarse. Miss June, didn't you say that you would take us home? But we already have no home. Can you allow us to follow by your side? Regardless of the ends of the earth, we are willing to pledge our lives to follow you. If we disobey, heaven and earth will not tolerate it. Following Zhu Wan's words, those hundreds of women simultaneously kowtow, shouting in a clear voice. We are willing to serve Miss as our master, pledge our lives to follow you, with no regrets. Pledge our lives to follow you, with no regrets. Each of these women has been imprisoned in Fusang City for many years. More than half of them survived the 100 Blossom Massacre with Mu Yan. Looking at this scene, Mu Yan is speechless for a moment. She sighs softly, if I remember correctly, most of you still have relatives. What you should do is to return to them. Zhu Wan sneers, I come from the Zhu family of the southern land. Miss June may not know what kind of family it is. Before my talent was revealed, my father clamored that women don't need to cultivate, don't waste resources. Later, my cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, reaching the leaving aperture stage, even surpassing my father. But he became angry out of humiliation, saying that I was showing my face in public, shaming the Zhu family. He quickly arranged a marriage for me, and made me obediently become the tool of the Zhu family's marriage alliance. I couldn't stand my father's oppression, so I escaped. Who knew that I would end up in Fusang City? At this point, Zhu Wan's hands tightly clench into fists, her eyes rolling with strong emotions. A mocking smile bloomed on her face, making her look incomparably desolate. Miss June, do you think that with my current state, if I were to return to the Zhu family, I would receive their care and protection? The expressions on the other women's faces are almost exactly the same as Zhu Wan's. I also escaped once, and let my husband come to Xixiang City to save me. But when he found out that I was captured by Fusang City, and that I had long lost my innocence, he ran away in a panic, looking as if he was afraid that I would implicate him. For such a man, it would be good if I didn't kill him. I was originally a gift from the sect to Fusang City, only to exchange benefits from Fusang City. I have no relatives or home for a long time, I simply don't know where I can go. Pairs of eyes filled with ripples in the deathly stillness were all looking at mine, as if they were looking at the last hope of this life. Miss, please take us in. Whether it's going to the brothel to gather intelligence, seducing men, or warming the bed, we can do it. We are willing to serve you for the rest of our lives. We will definitely serve you better than those stinky men and make you more comfortable. The corner of Mu Yan's mouth twitches. What fucking bed warming? What kind of fucking service is more dedicated than those stinky men? Why the hell would I need hundreds of women to warm my bed and serve me? But according to these women's narration, they were indeed homeless. It wasn't that she couldn't settle these people down. The Dark Flame Army needed all kinds of talents, especially the Divine Secret Battalion, that was responsible for collecting intelligence. If these women joined, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. However, to Mu Yan, the Dark Flame Army was not only a force in her hands, but also her family. Could she just casually expose them in front of others? www. Chapter 2639. It was as if she understood Mu Yan's mind. Zhu Wan suddenly knelt on one knee, pressed her hand on her chest, and said in a clear voice, Zhu Wan, swear to heaven that I will serve Jun Mu Yan as my master, follow her till death, and never betray her. If I violate this oath, may I be struck by lightning and consigned to eternal damnation. As soon as her voice fell, a ray of light shone from Zhu Wan's body, covering her whole body. This was the formation of the power of the oath. In other words, this oath had been recognized by heaven. Once violated, they would be directly killed by the divine thunder of heaven. When the other women saw Zhu Wan's action, they also knelt down without hesitation and swore to heaven. Mu Yan looked at the women kneeling on the ground. There was no pride or joy in her heart, only unspeakable sorrow and pity. If she had not been driven into a dead end. If she had not been completely disappointed in the world and human nature. How could these people entrust the rest of their lives to a stranger without any hesitation? It was like a drowning person grabbing the last piece of duckweed. She couldn't care less about what price she had to pay to catch this duckweed. She closed her eyes for a long time before opening them again. She said slowly, "Okay, I will settle you down. But please always remember that you are free. As long as you don't betray me, you can leave at any time by telling me when you want to leave. You are already free. Don't trap yourself in the quagmire of pain and hatred, unable to extricate yourself." Mu Yan sent out a message talisman, informing the nearest branch of the Tianji battalion to come and pick them up. Mississippi, after confirming the contractual relationship, these women began to call Mu Yen Mississippi. Wang Miao said with some hesitation, I have a friend who resisted very fiercely when he was caught, and even injured a dignitary, so he was locked in the beauty cave by those beasts. Thinking of the darkness and endless terror in the beauty cave, Wang Miao couldn't help but shiver, and her eyes overflowed with intense hatred and sorrow. My friend is probably long dead, but I still want to take a look. Miss, the beauty cave can only be opened by the energy emitted by the myriad cave formation. Can you, Mu Yen frowned, is there such a place in Fusang City? Was the entire Fusang City not like hell enough? Was it not scary enough? Zhu Wan sneered and said, the beauty cave is actually not that scary. There is no torture, no abuse. However, there is nothing in there. There's no light, no sound, and other than a few special days of the month, the people locked inside don't even have the sense of touch. It's fine if it's just 1 or 2 days, but if you're locked up for too long, you'll really go crazy. The so-called special days of the month are the days when the poor people in Fusang City who can't find a wife can go and vent their desires after paying a certain amount of crystals. However, such humiliating days are the only time the girls in the beauty cave can feel that they are still alive. Wang Miao looks at Mayan and opens her mouth, seemingly hesitant to speak. But in the end, he still said softly, Miss Ling's mother was once imprisoned there with her maidservant. Later on, her maidservant died, and she became like this. Mu Yen took a deep breath, his eyes surging with raging anger. She felt that it was too easy for those bastards in Fusang City to die so easily. www. Chapter 2640. But before she could speak, a strong wave of energy came from afar. Mu Yen frowned and said in a low voice, stay here with all the women. Don't step out of my formation. Wang Miao and the others nodded quickly. Mu Yen leaps up and flies high into the sky. Sensing the commotion, Yun Ruhan and the others also leaped into the sky, frowning slightly. The energy wave didn't come from one direction, but from all directions. Yun Ruhan said, they don't look friendly. Mu Yen lightly weighed the yellow disc in her hand and chuckled. When the myriad deep cave formation was broken, the energy wave couldn't be concealed at all. She wanted to leave immediately at that time. But there were too many women in Fusang City, and most of them were seriously injured. Plus, she was both physically and mentally exhausted after gaining freedom. If she didn't settle down and get treatment immediately, she might not live for more than 2 days. So Mu Yen chose to stay. Soon, flying swords whistled in the sky. Dozens of sage-like men in Taoist robes appeared in the sky above Fusang City. Seeing the ruins below, the bloodstains of the city had not dried up yet. Their pupils shrank. Their eyes slowly turned and fell on Mu Yen and the others. The leader was a middle-aged Taoist with an elegant appearance. He cupped his hands and said, I am Lian Yang, the head of the Chongshan sect. May I know which sect you are from? Do you know what happened in Fusang City? Yun Ruhan took a step forward and was about to speak. Suddenly, a young man behind Lian Yang pointed at Mu Yen and exclaimed, Head, she is Jun Mu Yen, God Killer Mu Yen. Lian Yang's eyes widened slightly. When he looked at Mu Yen again, there was nervousness and fear in his eyes. As for the other disciples of the Chongshan sect, they retreated a few meters. While they were talking, many people arrived. There were men and women among them. Some came on flying swords, and some came on flying boats. Every group of people was wearing the same clothes. Obviously, they were from the same sect or family. When they saw the scene in Fusang City, everyone had an incredulous look on their faces. Who is this crazy person? How could they destroy Fusang City like this? Valley Master Lu. What about Patriarch Go? Is he still alive? Li Yang took a long time to calm himself down and ask, Miss June, I have long heard of your great name. I wonder how Fusang City, how did it become like this? Hearing Li Anyang's words, everyone then turns their gazes towards Mayan's group of 7. Soon, someone recognized them. The unfettered 7 devils. Did they destroy Fusang City like this? Isn't this too deranged? No, that's impossible. It's not like we haven't experienced Fusang City's grand formation before. Even peak leaving aperture realm cultivators can't display their full strength in there. How can it be destroyed by a few nascent soul and golden core cultivators? Listening to the discussions of the crowd, Mayan smiled coldly. Her gaze swept over everyone present, and she slowly said, There's no need to doubt. I was the one who destroyed Fusang City. I was the one who broke the Great Array. I was also the one who slaughtered everyone inside. Ho! Listening to Mu Yan's careless narration, the people from the western continent sects all sucked in a breath of cold air. June Mayan. Li Anyang laments bitterly. www. Chapter 2641. Looking at your appearance, you look like a naive little girl, but how could you be so vicious and merciless? That's the lives of a city's people, living human lives, how could you do it? The people of the other sects also have expressions of anger and heartache. A few days ago, I had a drink with the elder of the Higashida family. He was such a kind person. He actually died in the hands of such a vicious woman. Although Lord Lu lives in seclusion, if our Chu family begs him, he will still provide us with magic weapons engraved with talismans. How could there be such a vicious woman in the world? If she wasn't vicious, how could she be called a demoness? Treating the lives of a city's people as ants, killing them as they please. We think that they aren't vicious, but insane. What's the difference between this kind of behavior and the demon race? No wonder they're called the unfettered 7 demons, they really are evil demons. In my opinion, demons should be put to death. The discussions around them are getting louder and louder, and more indignant. Hundreds of practitioners above Yuanying stage surround them, filled with righteous indignation, looking like they want to demand justice. The anger in Leng Yuma's eyes is almost about to erupt. She raises the red lotus soul-stealing blade and is about to rush out, but is stopped by Mu Yan. Mu Yan's gaze sweeps over everyone present, smiling faintly, listening to the senior's tone. It seems that you have a good personal relationship with the people of Fusang City. Li Anyang says with a sullen face, Fusang City is a first-rate aristocratic family in the western continent of our Ziyunjia, and has always been kind and righteous. Although we are not selfless people, we can't just watch them die tragically. June Mu Yan, you'd better not. Not waiting for Li Anyang to finish speaking, Mu Yan has already lightly interrupted him, since you have a good relationship. Then presumably, you all should know what kind of life the women in Fusang City live, right? Li Anyang's voice stops, his eyes unconsciously drift to the side. The other people present, especially the male practitioners, all show a somewhat embarrassed expression, lightly coughing. Looking at their performance, Mu Yan's expression becomes a little cold, since you already knew, yet you turn a blind eye, and even help the evildoer. Hypocrites like you have the nerve to talk about benevolence and morality with me. Are you worthy? The faces of Li Anyang and the rest alternated between green and white. After a long while, someone retorted without much confidence, that's the tradition of Fusang City. How can we outsiders interfere? Those women staying in Fusang City are also of their own volition. Voluntary? You're fucking telling me it was voluntary. Leng Yuma could no longer hold it in, the long blade in her hand fiercely slashed towards the person who spoke. I'll chop off your dog head, and you'll fucking talk to me about being willing. The red lotus soul-snatching saber shone brightly and slashed at the crowd as if it was crushing dry weeds and rotten wood. It terrified the nascent soul realm cultivator to the point his face went pale, and he covered his head and fled. Everyone was startled by the Xiaoyao sect's behavior of starting a fight without saying a word. Li Anyang looked at the ruins below and couldn't help but take a step back. He gritted his teeth and said, even if those women didn't do it willingly, they can only blame their bad luck. The world of cultivators is the law of the jungle. They entered Fusang City. This is their fate. The curve of Mu Yan's mouth becomes more and more mocking. That's right, the weak are prey to the strong, it's a matter of heaven and earth. Fusang City wanted to make a move against me, but unfortunately, they were weak and I was strong, so in the end, the entire Fusang City was massacred by me. They can only blame their own bad luck. Seniors, don't you think so? www. Chapter 2642. The robbers have come. 1. These words are simply using a spear to attack a shield, making everyone unable to say a word of rebuttal. Li Anyang's face turns green and white. After a while, he grits his teeth and says, Jun Mayan, it's not that I look down on you, but Fusang City has stood for thousands of years. Even a crossing calamity stage expert can't break this iron bucket formation. How could you slaughter this city? Mayan sneered, Headley, don't beat around the bush. Don't you want to ask where the core of the great formation that has protected Fusang City for thousands of years is? She gently tosses the disc in her hand up and casually says, well, the core of the myriad cave formation is in my hands. If you have the ability, come and snatch it. Hearing this, Li Anyang and the others look at the yellow disc with green eyes. Yes, their first purpose in rushing to Fusang City is not to seek justice for Fusang City at all. Instead, they covet the famous Great Formation that protects Fusang City. In the western land of Xian Realm, almost everyone knows that there is a Great Formation in Fusang City that has stood for thousands of years. The cultivation and strength of the people in Fusang City are insignificant. This is already an open secret. However, as long as this great formation exists, the city is indestructible. In the city, people like Willow Valley City are godlike existences that cannot be defeated. Moreover, as long as they pay a certain price, even if they leave the range of the great formation, they can still get a blessing for a short period of time. It allowed them to double their strength. Who wouldn't want to have such a great formation? If such a great formation can be placed in the mountain gate, their sects and families will become an iron bucket that no one can break. From then on, they can do whatever they want inside, and no one can control them. When the myriad cave formation was broken, the energy that has accumulated for thousands of years was released. It was sensed by the nearby sects and families, so they rushed over immediately. It was for the sake of seizing the core and the formation disk of Fusang City's Great Formation. Li Anyang swallows his saliva, suppressing the excitement and greed in his heart. Looking at Mayan, he says, Miss June, even if the people of Fusang City didn't have eyes and offended you, they only have themselves to blame for ending up like this. However, the treasures in Fusang City belong to our Purple Cloud Realm's western land. You can't be so greedy and want to take them for yourself, right? The smile on Mu Yan's face becomes more and more sarcastic. If I don't take it for myself, I'll let you take it for yourself. Ha, if you want Fusang City's great city protecting formation, why don't you come and take it yourself? After I've worked so hard to break the array and obtain the array core, you want to take the spoils of war for yourself? Do you have any shame? Luo Yu giggled and said, they want Face, but unfortunately, Face doesn't want them. It's obvious that you've always been robbing others by force, yet you have to pretend to be benevolent and righteous. Are all the cultivators of the western land of the Purple Cloud Realm so shameless? His face immediately turned green and white. He grits his teeth, no longer as gentle and refined as before, revealing his ferocious nature. Do you think I'm negotiating with you? Today, you have to hand over the formation disc, even if you don't want to. Luo Yuk shakes her head and sighs. Tisk tsk, even if you're shameless, there's one thing I don't understand. You have so many sects, but there's only one formation disc. Even if you snatch it, who will you give it to? Hearing this, everyone's expression suddenly turns cold. The sects vaguely look at each other and see the vigilance and determination in each other's eyes. Chapter 2643. The murderers and robbers have come, too. A white-haired old man coughed lightly and said, My Rakshasa sect specializes in arrays. This great array can only be used if it stays in our sect. Bah, your Rakshasa sect specializes in arrays. My Chu family is the one who is truly qualified to inherit Fusang City's great array. Ha, your Chu family doesn't even have a crossing tribulation stage cultivator, yet you have the nerve to fight with us for the array disc. Are you worthy? Seeing that the crowd was about to fight before they could grab the array disc, Li Anyang immediately said loudly, Everyone, please calm down. Please listen to me. Seeing that everyone was looking over, Li Anyang stroked his beard and said slowly, This array disc originally belonged to Fusang City. Now, the entire Fusang City has been massacred, and City Lord Lu's corpse is nowhere to be found. We inherited this great array because we don't want Fusang City to be annihilated. We want to carry forward Fusang City's skills. In this way, we can be considered to have received Fusang City's favor. Since we are indebted, we must repay the favor. Then let's do it this way. Whoever kills Mayan and takes revenge for City Lord Lu will be the one to keep this city protecting array. But the other families can also choose disciples to enter the array every year. Aren't there 6 carefree 7 devils other than Mayan? Among these 6 people, whoever kills the most and kills the fastest will be given priority to enter the formation every year. Our families hereby swear that we will never violate it. What do you think? Everyone thought for a while and then nodded. This method could be considered comprehensive, and everyone could accept it. Soon after, everyone's eyes that look at Mayan are filled with teasing killing intent. Li Anyang's face once again hung a sanctimonious smile. Miss June, I gave you a chance. Just now, if you obediently handed over the array core, you could at least live. But now, not only will you die, even your fellow disciples won't be able to live. Li Anyang didn't doubt this point at all. Although the cultivators from each family didn't have crossing tribulation stage, but there were as many as 5 at the peak of leaving body stage. Not to mention the other leaving body stage and nascent soul stage cultivators, there were countless. The reputation of the Carefree 7 was resounding, and Mayan's strength was heaven-defying. But so what if it was heaven-defying? Under the absolute advantage of strength and numbers, only death awaited them. Mu Yan narrowed her eyes and said to Yun Ruhan in a low voice, Eldest senior brother, leave with the women in the hall. I'll hold them back, but the other 6 people of the Carefree sect moved. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few figures whizzed past, spreading out and standing in 6 different directions. Originally, it was Li Anyang and the others who surrounded the unfettered 7 sons, but now, it was Yun Ruhan and the others who surrounded the people from the various sections. However, it was a joke for 7 people to surround more than 100 people. Ling Yuma waved the long blade in her hand and rested it on her shoulder. She wiped her nose and laughed wantonly. Junior sister, this time, don't expect to leave us behind and be in the limelight. Yun Ruhan's gaze was gentle, but her eyes were filled with determination. Junior sister, using the Big Dipper is the Carefree sect's strongest weapon. If we leave, who are you going to form the formation with? Luo Yu opened her mouth, revealing 2 cute dimples. She said with a little grievance, 6th senior sister, we aren't that weak, right? Don't push us to the front every time there's danger. We can also be very strong. Chapter 26:44. As soon as he says that, a bird's cry soars to the sky. A red bifong flies out from behind him and hovers in the air. A powerful pressure permeates between heaven and earth. Qin Jiu silently takes out his black hammer and fiercely swings it. No one is allowed to bully junior sister. Bully junior sister, kill. Ling Yuxing slowly closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, he steps lightly. A magical scene happens. One Ling Yuxing appears beside him, then two, and finally, 6 Ling Yuxing appear. It's not a cloning technique. It's just that his speed is too fast. When he steps, there are afterimages in people's eyes. It's impossible to tell which one is real and which one is fake. Ling Yuxing, junior sister, my strength may be far inferior to yours. But I can guarantee that in this Shuzhen continent, anyone can take my life. I won't drag you down. Chu Moli's expression is the same as usual. His fingers caress the wheelchair, and he says with a faint smile, "Sorry, I'm just a weakling. I'm just here to make up the numbers for the Big Dipper. Junior sister, just ignore me." He learned the phrase, weakling, from Bai Xia. The other people of the Xiaoyao sect immediately roll their eyes at him. Luo Yu and Leng Yuma also use it to give Chu Moli the middle finger. Mayan stares at her fellow disciple standing in 6 different directions. Her eyes are a little warm, and her chest is surging with magma-like emotions. Her mouth slowly curls up, and the Tian Mo Qin appears. Good, the Xiaoyao 7, advance and retreat together. Big Dipper, get ready. As soon as she says that, 10 fingers fall. The sound of the Qin suddenly resounds, like the galloping of 10,000 horses. A ray of light rises from the Tian Mo Qin, splitting into 6 and flying towards Yun Ruhan and the other 5. In the space, the core of the myriad caves formation faintly emits a yellow light. The 6 threads are coated with a layer of golden light. Big Dipper, complete. Li Anyang never thought that they would be in such a situation of certain death. Not only did the Xiaoyao 7 demons not beg for mercy, they even wanted to fight them head-on without fear. What kind of joke is this? 7 against 100. And each of these 100 people has a higher cultivation than them. Were they crazy? Li Anyang's expression was ferocious. Gritting his teeth, he waved his hand and said, "Fellow Taoists, don't show mercy. Kill them and take revenge for Fusang City. If we kill Jun Mayan, Fusang City's city protecting array will be ours. Kill." In an instant, sword chi whistled through the sky like a dense net. The interweaving attacks produced a thunderous roar. Fusang City, which was already in ruins, was blown up beyond recognition. Zhu Wan, Wang Miao, and Guai Yun were all hiding in a pile of rubble, nervously looking at the sky, their faces filled with anxiety and worry. There is a defensive formation arranged by Mayan here. As long as it wasn't a leaving aperture realm cultivator attacking it at close range, the formation would remain unbreakable. Furthermore, this formation also had a concealment function. There were so many women hiding inside, but the cultivators above could not find a single one of them. Guai Yun looked at the lone figure fighting with hundreds of people in the sky and anxiously paced in circles. What to do, what to do? Jun Mo Xia will be fine, right? This group of damned bastards, and they're even men. Hundreds of people against 7 people, don't they have any shame? No, we can't hide here, I have to go out and help Jun Mo Xia. Guai Yun muttered and was about to rush out. Chapter 26:45. The other female cultivators had long been unable to restrain themselves, their hearts burning with anxiety. At this time, when they saw Guaiyun make the first move, they immediately shouted, "Let's go and help Miss June, aren't they just relying on their numbers? Do you think we'll lose in numbers?" However, before Guaiyun could rush out of the formation, she was pulled back by Yuanbua. "Xiao Yun, calm down. Have you forgotten the great god June's request?" Guaiyun replied anxiously, "I don't care, June Amos is being besieged by them. Ah. The great god June is injured. I'm going to kill these bastards." With that, she pushed Yuanbo away. Piak. A tight slap landed on her face. Then, it was the female cultivators who wanted to rush out. Slap, slap, slap. The slaps were ruthless and accurate. Zhu Wan withdrew her hand and looked at the people who had been beaten in a daze. Her eyes were cold. "I don't care if you have good intentions or if you're stupid. I only know that Miss ordered me to watch over all of you and not allow you to leave the array. If anyone dares to disobey, don't blame me for being impolite." Ilanxin walked up slowly and said expressionlessly, "You are so impulsive and reckless. Do you want to waste the road that Miss paved for us and the future that she left for us? Furthermore, we are just a bunch of trash. Are we going to help or be a burden if we rush out? Have you ever thought about it? Or, do you think that Miss June saving you once isn't enough? Do you want her to save you 2, 3, or 4 times?" Ilanxin's words made Guaiyun and the female cultivators feel ashamed. Guaiyun covered her face in Yuanbo's arms. Her face was full of shame, but her eyes were red. But they really went too far. Guaiyun looked up at the sky. He just happened to see Luo Yu and Yun Ruhan being heavily injured and spitting out a mouthful of blood. Fresh blood sprinkled down from the sky, and even the air seemed to be filled with the smell of blood. Li Anyang's attack was directed towards Chu Moli, who was sitting in a wheelchair. Without hesitation, Mu Yen summoned the 7 absolute swords and flew up to block it. Clang! Li Anyang's sword was blocked. However, a meteor hammer ruthlessly smashes towards Mayan's head. Chu Moli suddenly jumps up from his wheelchair, grabs Mayan, and rushes downwards. The meteor hammer smashed on Chu Moli's back. A muffled sound was heard, followed by the sound of bones breaking. This caused Chu Moli's complexion to turn pale, and a large mouthful of blood directly sprayed onto Mayan's neck. Third senior brother. Mu Yen let out a scream. He abruptly turned around and stepped on the 7 absolute sword. Then, he scooped up the limp Chu Moli into his bosom. It was also at this moment that Leng Yuma screamed from behind, "Little junior sister, be careful." Mayan suddenly turns around, Li Anyang's sword has arrived. That was the sword strike of a leaving Aperture Realm cultivator. It was as fast as lightning. Not to mention that Mu Yen was currently carrying Chu Moli. Even if she wasn't burdened, she still wouldn't be able to dodge it. In the next second, her pupils suddenly shrank. Because she saw a slender figure flying over like lightning, blocking in front of her. It was the Stormwind Firefly Ling Yuxing. That was Little 5, the fastest in the entire Xiaoyao school. Only he can block this sword from Mu Yen. However, the tip of the sword was aimed straight at his chest. Fifth senior brother. Even Mayan's breathing has stopped. Fear and despair have seized all of her mind. Little 5. No. A sinister smile appeared on Li Anyang's face. He urged his divine sense, and the tip of the sword fiercely thrust forward. Almost at the same time, a cyan sword light whistled over from the horizon. Bang! With a loud sound, Li Anyang's long sword shattered into powder. The airflow of the collision directly sent him flying dozens of meters away, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Mayan's complexion was still deathly pale, and she blankly turned her head. She saw a figure dressed in cyan, like a pine tree, slowly descending in front of her. The sunlight fell on the youth's peerless face. It was like the snow on the mountain top that had been frozen all year round was slowly melting, revealing that absolutely gorgeous scene. Chapter 2646. Young martial uncle is from our Xiaoyao sect, you're jealous. The whole place falls into a strange silence. Everyone's eyes are focused on the man in black. In the big array below, Guaiyun suddenly covers her mouth and lets out a muffled scream, "Oh my god! Young Master Yun Xiao!" Her head is dizzy and she almost faints. In the end, what virtue or ability did she have to be able to see her idol Jun Mayan, the great god Jun, and also her most admired young master Yun Xiao in this life? The other women, especially those who have just been captured by Fusang City's bastards and whose spirits haven't been completely destroyed yet, their reactions are exactly the same as Guaiyun's. If the women below are screaming excitedly. As for Lian Yang and the others, they couldn't be more shocked. The Shuzhen continent's #1 swordsman, Luo Yunxiao. The legendary #1 expert, #1 handsome man, with unfathomable strength, who has never been defeated, who is regarded as the dream lover of countless women, young Master Yunxiao, why is he here? Ling Yuxing's back can still feel the piercing pain from the sword energy. He's already prepared to protect his little sister and third brother even at the cost of his life. At this time, he realizes that he's unharmed. When he turns around, there's still a trace of confusion on his face. When he sees that familiar figure, his breathing suddenly stagnates, and he almost blurts out, "Young martial uncle." But he quickly remembers that young martial uncle has always been alone in the Shuzhen continent, always alone. He doesn't want to get involved with anyone. Even if it's the Xiaoyao sect that he's nominally settled down in. In fact, before little sister appeared, the Xiaoyao sect really didn't bring any benefits to young martial uncle. On the contrary, they received a lot of pointers and crystals from young martial uncle. Thinking that young martial uncle never really acknowledged them, Ling Yuxing's heart is filled with disappointment. However, he also made up his mind to never expose the relationship between young martial uncle and the Xiaoyao sect, and not to cause more trouble for young martial uncle. The other people of the Xiaoyao sect obviously have the same idea as Ling Yuxing. The two carefree people like Luo Yu and Leng Yumao want to call out young martial uncle the moment they see Luo Yunxiao. But in the end, they forcibly hold it back. Even if the relationship between Mu Yan and Luo Yunxiao is very close, teacher and friend, at this time, she is also silent. It was as if she didn't know Luo Yunxiao at all and was just shocked by this sudden turn of events. Lian Yang had also recovered from his shock. He looked at Luo Yunxiao with an expression of anger and unwillingness. But so what if he was unwilling? How powerful was young Master Yunxiao? Let's put it this way. In the Ziyun realm, there was a ranking that represented the strongest strength, and it was called the Green Sky List. Someone like the Dingwa Marquis, Chu Xinyan, could only be ranked 3rd. Dragon Ascension Academy's Elder Kong Yuanzhou, an advanced tribulation passing cultivator, was only ranked 8th. As for the Green Sky Roll, they did not dare to put Luo Yunxiao's name on it. This was because no one had ever seen this person in action. No one knew how unfathomable his true strength was. Against the unfettered 7, they could rely on their numbers to forcefully seize the treasures. But facing young Master Yunxiao, Lian Yang looked around him and saw that the cultivators who had been ferocious and confident just a moment ago had expressions of fear on their faces. Their gazes were timid and they looked like they were ready to run away at any moment. How could they fight this kind of battle? There was no need to even try, it was already a crushing defeat. Chapter 2647. Little martial uncle is from the Xiaoyao school. Are you jealous? However, the Grand Array had flown away just like that, and he had even sustained heavy injuries. How could Li Anyang be willing to go for wool and come home shorn? Li Anyang laughed dryly. Young Master Yun Xiao, I've heard a lot about you. I don't know why you've come to the western continent of the purple cloud world. Could it be that you've taken a fancy to the Fusang city's great city protecting array? Ha, I must be joking. Young Master Yun Xiao, what kind of status do you have? How could you fancy a mere? Halfway through his words, he met Luo Yunxiao's emotionless eyes. Li Anyang's voice stopped abruptly. The young man hovering in the air was dressed in the simplest of clothes and attire. However, her appearance was truly like the orchids, jade trees, bright moon in one's bosom. There was not a single part of her that wasn't perfect, and there was not a single part of her that wasn't stunning. The faces of the female cultivators who came along with them were already blushing, and their eyes were filled with infatuation. Even the eyes of a few of the male cultivators shone brightly, as if they had seen their most worshipped idol, their cheeks flushed red, eager to rush forward. But Li Anyang felt his scalp go numb when he was stared at by those ink-black eyes. A sense of extreme fear welled up in his heart, making his hair stand on end. He quivered all over and immediately corrected himself, since it's something that young Master Yun Xiao has taken a fancy to, how can we have the cheek to snatch it from you? Ha, ha ha. But now, the thing is still in that woman Jun Mayan's hands. If young Master Yun Xiao wants to take it, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Then we'll take our leave first. After saying that, he waved his hand without hesitation and was about to leave with the lofty mountain sect. However, in the next moment, a clear and low voice resounded. In an instant, Li Anyang's movements were frozen. You heard people of the Xiaoyao school and you still want to leave. Where do you want to go? If it's the netherworld, I can send you there. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. Some people even wanted to dig their ears to see if there was something wrong with their ears and if they were hallucinating. What did young Master Yun Xiao just say? You heard a member of the Xiaoyao school. Who in the cultivation continent did not know that young Master Yun Xiao was a lone swordsman? But now he said, the 7 disciples of the Xiaoyao sect were also shocked beyond belief. Luo Yu blinked, then blinked again. He couldn't help it anymore and called out softly, little martial uncle. The other 6 people also seemed to be touched by him and suddenly came back to their senses. They all flew in front of Luo Yunxiao and looked at her with hope and fear. Their eyes were wide open, and their lips squirmed a few times, but no words came out. Luo Yunxiao couldn't help but frown when she saw them like this. How are your injuries? When he said this, the killing intent around him became even stronger. Luo Yu, Ling Yumo, and Ling Yuxing seemed to be unable to hold it in any longer as their eyes reddened. Little martial uncle, you're willing to acknowledge us. Little martial uncle, you don't despise us. Luo Yunxiao retracts her gaze from Mayan. Seeing their teary eyes, she snappily says, what nonsense are you talking about? He had never been unwilling to admit that he was the young martial uncle of the Xiaoyao sect. It was even more impossible for him to despise them. He was just too afraid to invest his feelings in something and ultimately cause them to be doomed eternally. Luo Yunxiao clenched her hands that were hanging by her side. She wanted to say a few words of alienation. Chapter 2648. Little Uncle Master is from the Xiaoyao sect, are you jealous? Unexpectedly, Luo Yu couldn't hold it in anymore. She rushed over and hugged Luo Yunxiao's arm. Boo-hoo, Little Uncle Master, we thought you despised the Xiaoyao sect and us. After all, we'll only cause trouble for you. Ling Yuma immediately complained, "Little Uncle Master, these bastards helped the wicked and wanted to steal little junior sister's things. They almost killed Xiaowu just now." "Qin Zhou, little Uncle Master, beat them." Luo Yunxiao's face darkened. She broke free from Luo Yu and wanted to take a few steps back. Unexpectedly, Ling Yuxing and Ling Yuma immediately came over happily. All three of them were injured. They looked at Luo Yunxiao with eyes full of admiration, making it hard for others to tell them to get lost. For a moment, Luo Yunxiao was caught in a dilemma. A rare crack appeared on his handsome face, which was usually indifferent. Mayan couldn't help but help Chu Moli to join in the fun. Third senior brother was weak in the first place. Now that he was seriously injured by them, I don't know if he'll still have the strength to fight trash in the future. "Little Uncle Master, you can't let these trash go so easily. You must make them pay. If they don't pay until they go bankrupt, they'll be looking down on our Xiaoyao sect." Chu Moli, Luo Yunxiao, the Western Continent cultivators of the Purple Cloud realm recovered from their shock and trembled in fear. Li Anyang screamed in disbelief after a while, "What kind of joke is this? Where did the Xiaoyao sect come from? I've never even heard of it before. How can young Master Yunxiao be from the Xiaoyao sect?" Luo Yu spat and made a face. "My little Uncle Master is the real deal. How is he not from the Xiaoyao sect? Old dog, you're jealous. Just say it." Before she could finish, Yun Ruhan smacked her head and said unhappily, "Don't be so rude." She couldn't let the little ones hang out with Bai Xia in the future. Her words were getting more and more shameless. Fortunately, Bai Xia left with Xiao Bao. Otherwise, who knew what would happen to Xiao Qi and the others? After taking pictures of Luo Yu, Yun Ruhan stepped forward and cupped her hands calmly. "Allow me to formally introduce her to everyone. I am Yun Ruhan, the head disciple of the Carefree School in the Azure Cloud world." Then, he pointed at Qin Zhou. "Second junior brother, Qin Zhou. Third junior brother, Chu Moli. Fourth junior sister Ling Yuma. Fifth junior brother, Ling Yuxing. Junior sister Jun Mayan. Seventh junior brother, Lan Luoyu." After introducing Mayan's group of 7, Yun Ruhan returns to Luo Yunxiao's side, her expression becoming more and more respectful. However, there was an unconcealable pride and honor between his brows. "There are a total of 9 people in the Carefree Society. Other than the 7 of us, there are only Master Shi Qing and Junior Sect Uncle Luo Yunxiao." After a pause, Yun Ruhan looked at the crowd and declared loudly, "Uncle Master, you're a member of the Xiaoyao sect. There's no doubt about it." Everyone was dumbfounded. Mu Yen couldn't help but burst out laughing. Meeting Luo Yunxiao's gaze, Mu Yen smiled and looked back at her. She lowered her voice and said, "Eldest senior brother looks steady and reliable, but I didn't expect him to be the same as Luo Yu and the others. In the past, everyone thought that you didn't like us in the Xiaoyao sect, so we all endured it. Now that we know that you've always treated us as your juniors, as your family, we can't hold it in anymore." Chapter 2649. Little Martial Uncle is from the Xiaoyao school. Are you jealous? For asking for tickets, the girl's eyes were beautiful like peach blossoms. When she smiled, the corners of her eyes were like rippling water, like a lake reflecting the stars in the sky, making people unconsciously intoxicated. "Little Martial Uncle, don't be angry, everyone was just too excited. We wanted to tell the whole world that you are a member of our Xiaoyao school, the little Martial Uncle of our Xiaoyao 7. Luo Yunxiao suddenly lowered his eyes, as if he was hiding from some scourge, hiding his almost overflowing emotions. Mu Yen thought he was shy, so she couldn't help but smile even more happily. The others are naturally martial nephews, but it's not necessarily so for someone. Suddenly, she heard a voice so low that it was almost inaudible. Mu Yan turned around and saw that Chu Moli had gotten his wheelchair back at some point, sitting on it with a leisurely expression. But his pale face showed that he had just been seriously injured. Mu Yan asked doubtfully, "Third senior brother, what did you just say? Did your internal injuries flare up? Let me take a look for you." Chu Moli raised his head and met Luo Yunxiao's cold warning eyes. He couldn't help but smile. "It's nothing. I'm just lamenting that from now on, our Xiaoyao school is going to be famous. From now on, as long as what happened here spread throughout the cultivation continent, those who wanted to join the Xiaoyao school would probably flatten the entire Merak Mountains. TSK, I wonder if my master in the Azure Cloud world can handle it." Luo Yunxiao didn't fool around with them anymore. Instead, he flew forward and looked at Li Anyang and the others with an indifferent expression. "Which hand did you use to hurt our Xiaoyao school's people? Break it yourself, leave all your storage tools, and leave." Li Anyang and the others' expressions changed. "Young Master Yunxiao, are you going to bully us?" Luo Yunxiao said indifferently, "So what? I don't have time to waste with you. Do it yourselves, or do it yourself. Choose." As soon as he finished speaking, 4 rays of light shot out from his palm and flew into the air. Mu Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. Natal swords. It seemed that Qi Huang didn't lie to her. Little martial uncle really had a lot of natal swords. Moreover, just these 4 swords emitted a terrifying aura that she couldn't even hope to catch up to. How powerful was little martial uncle's strength? While Mayan is still in shock, the 4 swords in the sky suddenly begin to separate. They turned into thousands of densely packed long swords, completely sealing off Li Anyang's group's path. For a moment, everyone was anxious and uneasy. The faces of those who had injured Mu Yan and the others were even paler, their eyes filled with fear. Li Anyang gritted his teeth and said, "The 7 of you from the Xiaoyao sect are all fine. We didn't take advantage of you. Does young Master Yunxiao really want to go overboard and exterminate all of us?" Luo Yunxiao said indifferently, "Is this your choice?" Buzz buzz buzz. The long swords in the sky buzzed. The people who were surrounded by the long swords were scared out of their wits. "No, no, no. Don't kill us, don't kill us. Li Anyang is Li Anyang. We are us. We are willing to listen. We didn't hurt anyone just now, please have mercy, young Master Yunxiao." Li Anyang's face was twisted, his eyes filled with hatred and fear. Compared to a hand and all his possessions, his life was of course more important. Just as Li Anyang was about to open his mouth to speak, a ray of light suddenly shot over from the horizon. Because of the powerful energy fluctuations in the sky, the white clouds were rolling and the wind was howling. It was very obvious that the person who came was extremely powerful. "Protective little martial uncle, I love it to death," sob sob sob. Chapter 2650. Leave no one alive. 3. Ning Su laughed coldly, his eyes full of murderous intent. Fu Sang City is full of beasts who have turned into demons. You help the wicked and are the claws of the demons. You deserve to be killed too. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword gleam shot out of his body and pierced through Li Anyang's chest. Li Anyang's eyes widened and he looked down with his mouth slightly agape. What he saw was a huge hole in his chest and a shattered heart. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body fell from midair. The long sword was not stained with a drop of blood. It spun in the air and returned to Ning Su's hand. He was full of murderous intent as he pointed the tip of his sword at the crowd. "You claws of the demon race, do you want to end yourselves or die under my demon-slaying sword?" The cultivators present looked at Ning Su, who was like an Azura god of death, and then at Lian Yang, who had already breathed his last. They were scared out of their wits. They knelt down on the flying sword and the flying boat with a thud. Young Master Ning, spare us, spare us. We are willing to listen to young Master Yun Shao and cut off one of our arms and offer up all our assets. Please spare our lowly lives. There were men and women, old and young, among the people kneeling on the ground. They were truly scared out of their wits. All the color drained from their faces and their eyes were filled with fear. The strength of their kowtows was frightening. Some of them had low levels of cultivation and were physically weak. Their faces were already covered in blood. The female cultivators were crying and begging bitterly. But faced with such a scene, Ning Su did not have a trace of pity in his eyes. Since you are not willing to end yourselves, I will have to do it myself. No. Don't. Miss June, we were just blinded by greed. We won't dare to do it again. Please, spare our lives. Young Master Yun Shao, we are willing to cut off one of our arms to live. We are really willing. Please save us. With that, one of the people who had injured the Xiao Yao 7 cut off his own arm with a sword. Blood splattered everywhere. But Ning Su was not moved at all. My demon-slaying sword never leaves a single demon alive. All of you, die. With that said, the sword flew out and without hesitation, cut a cultivator who had just cut off his arm in half. Even the people of the Xiao Yao sect were startled by this. Yun Ruhan frowned and finally couldn't help but say, Young Master Ning, these people are indeed in the wrong, but isn't it too much to kill them all? Forget about the sect masters and elders. But those disciples were just young men and women at the Golden Core stage. He definitely did not know the secrets of Fusang City. Today, he had only acted on the orders of his elders. Wasn't it too much to kill all of them? Ning Su said coolly, it's never too much to kill as many of the fiend race and monsters as you can. I've only killed the main culprits and let their sects go. That's already the greatest mercy I can muster. As soon as he finished speaking, his sword flew out once more, killing a few elders. For a time, the sky was filled with screams. When the long sword turned around and rushed towards a young female cultivator, there was a sudden bang in the air. Ning Su's demon-slaying sword was actually sent flying back. Another white light also shot towards Mu Yan's direction. She held the 7 absolute sword in her hand and spat out a mouthful of blood. Little junior sister, are you all right? Ning Su looked at Mayan in shock. What are you doing? Chapter 2651. Ownership of the Array Core, 1, asking for votes. Mayan wipes the blood from the corner of her mouth and swallows an elixir. Only then does she look towards Ning Su. Ning Dage, it's enough. These people are not remnants of the demon race. They should pay for what they have done, but not with their lives. Ning Su frowned and said coldly, the people of Fusang City have long fallen into the demonic path. They know what Fusang City is doing, but they did not stop it. They even wanted to kill you. They should have. Big Brother Ning, I know that you are angry that they hurt me. Mu Yan laughed lightly and interrupted him, however, you have already killed all the dregs in the lead. The remaining people really do not deserve to die. My anger has subsided, so you can let them go. Ning Su was taken aback, and then he awkwardly turned his head away. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but he couldn't utter a single word. Mu Yan looked at the rest of the cultivators and said coldly, Fusang City was slaughtered by me, Jun Mu Yan. I don't care if it's your sect or family that wants to suppress me, I'll welcome it at any time. No, I wouldn't dare. We won't do it again. Mu Yan waves her hand. According to what my young martial uncle said, those who have hurt my fellow apprentice brothers, leave your hands and storage equipment, and get lost. Although he had to leave behind all his treasures, even his arm. But these people seemed as if they'd been granted amnesty, and they chopped off their hands without the slightest hesitation before removing their storage rings and cosmos pouches before turning around and fleeing. They were afraid that young Master Suicide would go back on his word and kill them as if they were the remnants of the demon race. Seeing these people running away as fast as they could. Only then does Mayan look at Ning Su. Ningdage, you just said that the people of Fusang City are already equivalent to turning into demons. What do you mean by that? By the way, why are you here? Ning Su seemed to have thought of something. His expression changed slightly as he said in a deep voice, Mu Yan, you were the one who broke through Fusang City's great formation. Is that array disc in your hands now? Mayan nods. Ning Su hurriedly said, hurry up and give that thing to me. The evil aura on that thing is so strong that it can even cause the people of Fusang City to gradually fall into the devil's path. It's definitely not a good thing for you to have it, right? Mu Yan raised her eyebrows. Does Big Brother Ning know what Fusang City's great city protecting array is? 10 Ultimate Formation of the Myriad Caves. Ning Su said slowly. Luo Yunxiao's pupils constricted. Ning Su continued, I was originally in the northern continent of the Purple Cloud world, but I rushed over because I sensed the aura of the 10 terminal formation of the 1,000 caves. This monster. Ning Su gritted his teeth when he said the word demonic creatures. Back when I was floating in the sky, I wanted to destroy all the demonic creatures, but this 10 terminal formation of the 1,000 deep caves was the only one I couldn't find no matter how hard I tried. I never thought that it would end up in the cultivation world and cause trouble. Ning Su stretched out his hand and said anxiously, Mu Yan, give me the array disc of the myriad cave formation. That's not an ordinary formation plate. For a demonic formation like the myriad deep cave formation, the formation core and the formation plate have already fused together. It even has its own consciousness. Leave him to me. I'll deal with him. Mu Yan frowned, a hint of hesitation on her face. She pulled out her hand and pinched the yellow disc in her palm. Ning Su's eyes lit up when he saw the yellow disc. However, it wasn't passion or greed, but deep hatred. He couldn't wait for Mu Yan to hand it over to him. He reached out to snatch it. However, before his hand could touch the yellow disc, something was thrown out. An object was thrown out from the side and hit the back of his hand, causing it to deviate by 2 inches. Why did you guys think that it was Jun Shang who came? Jun Shang's appearance is bound to be glorious. How could it be Jun Shang's style to come out and show off when the dust has already settled? But don't worry, Jun Shang will be here soon. Let's go to the Shiraba. There are always unruly people who covet Jun Shang's wife. Chapter 2652. Chu Moli sat in his wheelchair and played with the jade pendant in his hand. He looked at Ning Su with a faint smile and said, Young Master Jueming, we were the ones who discovered the evil deeds in Fusang City. My junior sister risked her life to break the 10 ultimate formation of 1,000 deep caves. Now, you want to take it away so easily just by saying that it's unlucky. Isn't that a little too much? Ning Su looked at Chu Moli coldly. The killing intent he had gained from slaughtering tens of thousands of demons was released without reservation. Chu Moli's face was pale, but the smile on his face was still gentle, as if he wasn't affected at all. Ning Su was slightly surprised and was about to go closer to take a look. Mu Yan stepped forward and blocked Chu Moli's way. She smiled faintly and said, Big Brother Ning, I'm sorry, but I've already promised to give the formation disc of the myriad cave formation to someone else. Ning Su frowned immediately. This evil item will only cause disaster no matter who gets it. It will tempt people to become demons. I'm the only one who can get rid of it. Mu Yen shook her head. The myriad cave formation is just an item. Whether it's tainted with demonic energy or spiritual energy, there's no difference between good and bad. Those who use spirit artifacts have evil intentions and can still help the evildoer. No matter how evil the demonic item is, as long as the person using it is strong enough and has a strong enough heart, he won't be bewitched. Moreover, you said that it will cause disaster no matter who gets it. I don't agree with that. At least I know that it won't do evil in my hands. It won't do evil in my junior martial uncle's hands either. Then, she turned around and walked to Luo Yunxiao. She handed the disc in her hand to her. Junior martial uncle, this is for you. Luo Yunxiao's pupils constricted as she stared at Mu Yen. Qi Ji's voice in the spiritual pet pouch was chattering non-stop. It was so close, yet so far away. Master, are you crazy? Hurry up and ask Mei Yanyan for the formation disc. What if this Ning guy really takes it away? Ah! Mei Yanyan, what kind of goddess are you? Master, Mei Yanyan knows that you want the core of the myriad cave formation. How did she find out? Hurry up and take it. Bastard master, are you still going to be unreasonable at a time like this? Are you going to let down Mei Yanyan's good intentions? Luo Yunxiao clenched her fists to calm herself down. Why are you giving it to me? Mayan smiles with an innocent look on her face. I saw that junior martial uncle had been staring at me since I took out the array disc. I believe the core of the myriad deep cave formation is very useful to you, right? Of course, she didn't notice if Luo Yunxiao was looking at the disc of the myriad deep caves formation. The person who told her this information was Qi Huang, who had always disliked youngest martial uncle. It was Qi Huang who told her that her junior uncle was looking for a lot of things, and the myriad deep cave formation disc was one of the most important ones. But when Mu Yen asked him how he knew, and why was little martial uncle looking for these things? But Qi Huang refused to say anything. Even the people of the Xiaoyao sect didn't know about the young martial uncle's secret, but Qi Huang knew it clearly. Only a ghost would believe that there was no relationship between the two of them. Qi Huang, shut up. Who has anything to do with that pretty boy? I just don't like people surnamed Ning even more. Get out of here. Mayan held back her laughter and didn't expose this guy. Chapter 2653. She brings the thing in her hand to Luo Yunxiao again, Junior Master. Puff! Before Luo Yunxiao can move, a grotesque beast pounces out of the void and directly grabs the disc in Mu Yan's hand. Oh whoa, Mei Yanyan, you're the best. How did you know that this is what Master needs the most? Master is unable to repay your great kindness. Let him repay you with his body. After saying that, it hugs the disc with its claws and directly puts it into its spiritual pet space. After that, Chiwen looks up at Luo Yunxiao and says excitedly, Master, that's great, we finally have one more thing to collect. We're one step closer to success. After saying that, without waiting for Luo Yunxiao's response, it rushes to Mu Yen and pounces into her arms. This time, this perverted dragon has no intention of taking advantage of them. Instead, it is full of gratitude and happiness. Mei Yanyan, you don't know how hard it is for me and Master to find these things. Year after year, decade after decade, there is no end. I thought that the most important ones would never be found again. Who knew? Who knew? At this time, even Mu Yen stops teasing her. When she heard Qi Huang say that Junior Master is looking for something, she didn't feel anything. But Qi Wen's words make her suddenly realize something. Junior Master is always not in the Xiaoyao sect, and very few people know of his whereabouts. Occasionally, there are bits of news in the Tianguang ruins, and those cultivators vaguely find traces of him in the most dangerous and remote mountains. In the past, they didn't know why. Now, they finally understand that Junior Master is looking for something. Mu Yan looks at Luo Yunxiao. Junior Master, what are you looking for? Tell us, we can help you look for it. Yes, yes. There is strength in numbers. Luo Yu says, and our luck is very good, especially Junior Sister and Xiao Bao. If we look for it together, maybe we can help you find it soon. Yun Ruhan, Master once said that Junior Master stayed in the Shuzhen continent to find a person and something. In the past, we were too weak. Even if we wanted to help little martial uncle, we couldn't. But now, we are slowly becoming stronger. Since Junior Sister was able to find the disk of the Myriad Deep Cave Formation, we'll be able to help you find something else next time. Qi Wen's eyes were filled with obvious hope. She blinked her green beady eyes at Luo Yunxiao. Master, I think the little bastard is right. Do you want to, at least make Dutian 12, no need. Luo Yunxiao interrupted Qi Wen's words without any hesitation. I will find what I want to find myself. I don't need you to get involved. If you want to help me find what I want, you have to survive the real blood slaughtering sword formation first. Luo Yunxiao had always been indifferent and amiable. When she wasn't angry or imposing, she was like a piece of warm and translucent jade. It was intoxicating, making one yearn to get close to it, but not much reverence. However, as soon as he said those words with a stern face, the unquestionable pressure seemed to cover the sky and cover the earth. This kind of pressure was even much stronger than the pressure Ning Su had released towards Chu Moli earlier. The people of the Xiaoyao sect were used to being oppressed by Luo Yunxiao. They instantly fell silent out of fear. Even Mu Yan shrunk her neck. The so-called real blood slaughtering sword formation was formed when 1,800 streams of sword energy were activated at the same time. Chapter 2654. The true blood slaughtering sword formation was formed when 1,800 sword chi were activated at the same time. That kind of destruction to the sword intent was even more terrifying than divine lightning striking a human body. Mu Yan had already cultivated the heart of the sword and the natal sword, but she didn't dare say that she could challenge 1,800 sword chi. Not to mention the other people in the Xiaoyao sect. Luo Yunxiao reached out and grabbed Qi Wen in her hand. With a flip of her hand, a yellow disc appeared in her palm. Luo Yunxiao looked down at the core of the Myriad Caves formation, which was emitting a faint murderous aura. She didn't know what kind of emotions were surging in her heart. It was as if that deep sigh and indistinct voice rang in his ears again. The divination shows that your only chance is someone who can trigger. That's your luck, your fate, but also your calamity, or maybe it's not your calamity, but that person's eternal damnation. Yunxiao, this is all I can do for you. I'll hand the Tianguang ruins over to you. Go find your chance of survival. No matter what, you have to fight for your life. Luo Yunxiao closed her eyes and clenched the disc in her hand. He looked at Mu Yan and said in a hoarse voice, I'll take the disc of the Myriad Caves formation. Thank. Mu Yan raised her eyebrows. Junior Master, if you say thank you, you're treating us like outsiders. She paused and suddenly thought of something. Oh, since little martial uncle wants to treat me like an outsider, shouldn't I return this thing to you? After all, this thing is much more important than the disc of the Myriad Caves formation. With that, she raised her hand and a translucent green sword appeared in her palm. Mu Yan looked straight at Luo Yunxiao and said slowly, Junior Master, how can you give away something as important as a life and death sword so casually? I think it's better to take it back. Yun Ruhan and the others were shocked when they heard that. Luo Yu and the others were fine. They just sighed that Junior Master doted on Mu Yen the most. After all, she was the only disciple that he taught personally. Yun Ruhan, who knew the truth, couldn't help but glance at Chu Moli. Only when she saw Chu Moli making a shush gesture with a smile, did she forcibly swallow back the words she was about to say. Luo Yunshao stretched out his hand and lightly placed his slender and fair fingers on the jasper sword. Just when Mu Yen thought that he was going to take it back, a green light floated out from the Dragon Abyss sword, shooting into Luo Yunshao's body. Luo Yunshao said, "I gave you the Dragon Abyss sword, not only to help you condense the heart of the sword, but also to refine the sword will of the Dragon Abyss sword. Of course, if you feel that this is not appropriate, then I will take back the Dragon Abyss sword." After pausing for a while, he continued, "I didn't discuss it with you before using the Dragon Abyss sword to absorb the essence of your sword intent. I'm very sorry." Mu Yen was a little dumbfounded. Is that so?" She asked in her heart. "Qi Huang, youngest martial uncle, didn't deceive me." Qi Huang snorted, "Damn it, I don't know if this pretty boy did it on purpose or not. I thought that he gave you the Dragon Abyss sword for your own good, but I didn't think that he would take advantage of it in the end. You ignorant woman, haven't you heard of using the body to nurture the sword, using the soul to nurture the sword? But in this world, there are far too few sword hearts that can reach this level. And if you nurture your own sword with someone else, if it's broken, the owner of the sword will be heavily injured. Other people just won't do it." Chapter 2655. Am I imagining things again? 3. You help him raise his natal sword. When the sword's soul is completely condensed, he will have a holy sword as his natal magic weapon. Damn it, he really made a fortune. Qi Huang said, stomping his feet in anger. "No, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. I always feel that we are at a disadvantage. Give that broken natal sword back to him." Mu Yen rolls her eyes and directly cuts off the connection with Qi Huang. Just as Luo Yunshao reaches out to take back the Dragon Abyss sword, she quickly lets go and says with a hollow laugh, "I will continue to raise it, continue to raise it." In fact, with the Dragon Abyss sword of youngest martial uncle by her side, every time she uses the sword technique, she can absorb an endless stream of sword intent from the Dragon Abyss sword. These sword intents cannot be used directly by her, but they will help her practice the essence of the sword technique over and over again, condensing her sword heart. Otherwise, even if she has the Shin musician skill to level up, how could she have her own natal sword so quickly? Originally, she thought that the youngest martial uncle was too good to her, so good that it made her feel uneasy. Now it seems that she is overthinking again. A mutually beneficial thing, whoever doesn't do it is a fool. Qi Wen looks at the indifferent Luo Yunshao, then at Mu Yen, and rolls her eyes. In the past, the master had a face that could turn all living things upside down, but in terms of chasing girls, he really has no talent at all. That Dragon Abyss sword is clearly the master's most important natal sword. How much risk would it take to put it in other people's hands? He said to raise the sword, but with the master's current cultivation in the way of the sword, why can't he raise it? At this time, shouldn't he show his own contribution? Stupid master. Idiot master. With your stupid appearance, it would be strange if you could chase the girl you love. Mei Yan Yan is so good, so fragrant, so beautiful, it would be a pity to let others take advantage of her. Thinking about it, Qi Wen becomes sad, and once again pounces on Mu Yen. Mei Yan Yan, I don't want to live with this stupid master, I don't want to follow him, I want to follow you in the future. Mei Yan Yan, I need your loving kiss to recover. Qi Wen pouts as she flies to Mu Yen. However, before he can pounce on Mu Yen, Luo Yunshao grabs him from the air. Luo Yunxiao looked at the people from the Xiaoyao sect and said, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. You guys take care. Chiwen bared her fangs and brandished her claws as she screamed, I don't want to go. I want to be with Mei Yanyan. I haven't let Mei Yanyan hug and kiss me in such a long time. Luo Yunxiao flattened it in her palm and was about to put it into the spirit beast bag. Ning Su's cold voice sounded from the side. Wait, you can't leave yet. Ning Su walked forward step by step. His sharp gaze shifted from Luo Yunxiao to Qi Wen's hand. If I'm not wrong, your spiritual pet isn't a spiritual beast, but a magical beast. These words made Mu Yan and the others reveal astonished expressions. Qi Wen was a magical beast. However, it seemed that he was indeed different from ordinary spirit beasts. But it didn't seem like it was surrounded by demonic qi and baleful qi like the other magical beasts. Ning Su, its level is too high, and it used a camouflage technique, so I didn't notice it before. This is a magical beast, and a high-level one at that. Am I right or not? Luo Yunxiao's expression didn't change in the slightest. Her voice was faint, but exceptionally pleasant, so what if it is? Ning Su sneered, if it's a magical beast, then it should be killed. Come, do you want to make a bet, young martial uncle vs young master suicide? Chapter 2656. Young Uncle Master and Sir Suicide were fighting. 1. Ning Su snickered. Magical beasts deserve to be killed. After saying that, a strong murderous intent surged out of Ning Su's body. His eyes were also dyed with a scarlet red that bordered on madness. The demon-slaying sword that he had put away suddenly appeared in his hand, and there was a spark on the tip of the sword. The air around him was tainted by this flame, and it was as if something was burning. It made crackling sounds from time to time. The strong pressure and murderous intent made Yun Ruhan and the others turn pale and unable to stand still. Even the female cultivators hiding in the formation were trembling and retreating. Just from this alone, one could tell how powerful Ning Su was. It was obvious that he was far more powerful than a normal tribulation cultivator. However, Luo Yunxiao, who was right in front of Ning Su, didn't change her expression at all. She just calmly put Qi Wen into the spirit beast pouch. Before she was stuffed in, Qi Wen popped her head out and shouted, so what if I'm a magical beast? Did I eat your rice? I've never killed an innocent person. What right do you have to yell at me? I think you're a shameless dog. You're jealous of Mei Yanyan for being nice to my master, right? Ha ha ha, Mei Yanyan just won't give you the core of the myriad cave formation. I'm going to piss you off. Smack. Luo Yunxiao stuffed Qi Wen into the spirit beast pouch without hesitation, cutting off her incessant chatter. Ning Su's face was completely dark. It wasn't because he was angered by Qi Wen's words, but because he truly hated all demonic beings to the bone. He hadn't attacked Luo Yunxiao yet because... Sir Yunxiao, you are Mu Yan's uncle master. I don't want to make things difficult for you. But magical beasts are magical beasts. As long as they are given time to grow, they will harm the human world sooner or later. And the disk of the myriad cave formation, no matter how strong an ordinary person is, will gradually be eroded by the malevolent energy in their hands. I don't want to kill you and make Mu Yan sad, but I swore that I would kill all the magical beasts in the world. If you refuse to come to your senses, then don't blame me for being impolite. A cool breeze ruffled the man's black hair and green robes. Under the sunlight, that figure, that face, really was like a pine tree in the snow, cold and clear, peerless. It was no wonder that so many women in the world were infatuated with young Master Yunxiao. But who would have thought that this immortal-like young Master Yunxiao actually kept a dangerous magical beast close to him? He even wanted to collect the 10-terminal formation of 1,000 deep caves. The more such a person fell into the demonic path, the more they would be able to lure tens of thousands of living beings into it, and the harm they would cause would be immeasurable. Just like that demon in the past. She had destroyed everything for him and taken away everything he valued. Let him live in hell from now on, forever sinking into depravity. The redness in Ning Su's eyes grew hotter and hotter. He stared at the man in front of him, and a blatant killing intent emanated from him. I'll ask you again. Are you going to hand over the demonic beast in the array core? Under the sunlight, the green-robed man's expression was normal, and his tone was still calm. No. The spiritual power in Ning Su's body surged, and the demon-slaying sword let out an ear-piercing hum. All right, then I will kill you so that the demonic beast and the malevolent array core can no longer hide. Before he finished speaking, the demon-slaying sword had already turned into a ray of light and rushed towards Luo Yunxiao. Luo Yunxiao stood still, but 3 swords suddenly appeared behind her. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.